Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and in today's episode of our Throwback Thursday, we will be rewatching the 1998 Daytona 500. CBS broadcasted this race almost 25 years ago. Actually, this coming Daytona 500 and this coming Speed Weeks will be the 25th anniversary of the 1998 Daytona 500. This had taken place a year before I was born, so I was not old enough, or I wasn't even alive, I guess, to have seen this race live in person. So it'll be interesting to see watching this race. I don't think I've ever watched this race before, even on like replays. Honestly, outside of the last few laps, I don't really remember. Last week we watched the 2006 Daytona 500. In that race, I remembered bits and pieces of it once the race had gone across, so maybe that'll be the case today. Maybe I've seen like clips of certain incidents that might have happened throughout the course of this race in the 1998 500, but we'll have to find out. Very historic race for anybody who has not watched the race but is watching the stream or is unaware, just like I am, of what happened throughout probably most of the race. Do not spoil it in the comment section down below. I do have to say that first and foremost. I'll kind of say that throughout the course of the stream as well. But needless to say, this is going to be a fun one tonight. We're going to sit back. We're going to get this going very quickly here through the intro today because my Green Bay Packers play tonight. So we'll see. I'll probably miss the very start of the race, but I'm more excited for this, though, because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And we get to watch some NASCAR on the channel again with you guys. So without further ado, here it is.
The largest crowd in Daytona history, held in suspense, awaiting the green flag from Dan Marino today. There's the man.
Dan Marino's the Grand Marshal.
A year ago, Jeff Gordon, defending champion of the Daytona 500. Let's go topside right now.
Sizey, Wade Solinsky, 48K forgot. Thanks for tuning in also. Got the rainbow paint scheme for Jeff Gordon.
Thank you, Ken. NASCAR of all major professional sports.
It's young Mike Joy. Mike Joy 25 years ago.
The Daytona 500. Teams have had all winter to prepare. But Ned Jarrett, there's been a lot of preparation.
Yeah, Packers play later tonight. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in also. Let me know if the audio is good to go also down in the chat. We had issues with it at the beginning of last week's race, and I got it figured out. But let me know if I have to adjust it at all.
You have some drivers with new teams and some drivers with new teammates. How will all that play out? Then there are 6 drivers in the field who are making their...
I want you guys to be able to hear the actual broadcast and hear me at the same time.
And questions that will be answered here today.
Well, now, when Buddy Baker won this race in 1980, if you had the fastest car, and you did, you put your foot down, and you did, and you passed everybody to win the race. Today, it's a different game out there.
Well, it is. The cars have to stay in good track position. One thing they have to do is stay with other cars to draft. A few years back, when you didn't have the restrictor plate to pull the horsepower out of the engine,
I don't know that I've actually seen Buddy Baker by face too much ever in my life. I honestly kind of forgot he looked like that. I've only known Fox to cover the Daytona 500 for most of my life, and NBC for a few years. But all right, here we go. Oh, okay. I didn't realize the Lobanis were on the front row. Earnhardt must have won the dual race then. Starting that high up in the running order.
Jimmy Spencer, winner of the Bud Pre Shootout, and Mike Skinner, last year's pole sitter. Ward Burton, 8th last year, and Ernie Irvin, 1991 winner.
Like that Skittles paint scheme. Gary Cope's starting pretty high up in the running order.
Jeremy Mayfield, 6th last year, and Jeff Burton, 5th 2 years ago. Mark Martin, his best finish is 3rd in 95, and Lake Speed.
Classic Valvoline scheme from 98 also.
John Andretti won the 400-miler here last July. Andy Hillenberg, 2-time ARCA champ. Bill Elliott, a 2-time winner of the 500, next to rookie from Vermont, Kevin Lopez.
Oh, no, yellow line rule was not a thing in 98.
And Bobby Hamilton, new into a car that has won here 3 times.
Kyle Busch fan, thanks for tuning in, by the way.
Phil Bartol's car early in the week. Greg Sachs, last 8 years, 8
And young Mike Wallace.
Jeff Bodine, the 86 winner, next to Connecticut rookie Jerry Nadeau. Rick Mass finished 4th in 1991, and Joe Nemechek won yesterday in the 300-miler. Jeff Gordon, defending champion of the 500.
Man, Gordon started really deep in the field.
Ken Schrader, a hard crash Thursday, but he's ready to go for that.
After winning the championship the year before.
30 year ago. Rookie Steve Park driving for Earnhardt and ageless Dick Trickle.
Ageless Dick. The way they said that. With his name.
Finished fourth here in 95, and rookie Kenny Irwin Jr. Kyle Petty, third generation driver, and Ricky Rudd, third in 81.
Like that number 10 tide ride.
The front row this year, the back row for he and provisional starters Brent
Just looking at the paint schemes of some of these drivers. Wow,
Darrell
Waltrip starting dead last. He must have barely made his way in. Stu Isaac, thanks for tuning in. Sounds good? Awesome. Turn up the race audio. I'll get right on that.
Let's take a look at this Daytona International Speedway. Here's the start-finish line. 18 degrees of banking here, 31 degrees of banking in the turn.
Hopefully that's a little better for you guys.
What does 31 degrees of banking look like? We'll bring our
3D model they have from 1998.
That's what it looks like, but to the drivers,
Almost looks like how the video games looked around that time.
In today's race, you will have 18 new Ford Tauruses. You will have 3 Ford Thunderbirds, 16 Chevrolets, and 6 Pontiacs.
That's strange. I didn't know that. They had 2 different Fords.
Failed to qualify for this race, listed in
They had the Ford Thunderbirds and the Tauruses in the field at the same time. I had no clue that was the case.
Today you're going to ride along with the man who seeks to win his first 500 after 20 starts. It's not just that Dale Earnhardt hasn't won this race. It's how close he's come, how many times. He'll start fourth today.
See, failed to qualify was Norm Benning. Johnny Benson missed the race. Todd Bodine, Kenny Wallace missed. Jeff Green missed.
Jeff Bodine, 1 win, a total of 7 top 10
Wally
finishes in
Dallenbach
this race.
missed. Norm Benning. Loy Allen.
Rick Mass
Boy, Allen was
makes
a
his
former
8th
pole sitter in
Daytona
this race,
500
too.
start. Jeff Gordon, last year the 7th driver to win the Daytona 500 and the Winston Cup Championship in the same season.
No Taurus, thanks for tuning in also.
Ricky Craven started last year's race in the last row and finished 3rd. Kenny Irwin Jr. is one of 6 drivers running their first Daytona 500 today. Dale Jarrett is one of only 6 drivers to have won this race more than once. He'll start 5th. From Roush Racing, Jeff Burton won 3 Winston Cup races last year. His 5th Daytona 500 start is today. And John Andretti hops into the throne of the king, Richard Petty's Pontiac. He'll start 17th. He won the Winston Cup 400.
I don't know if the lights are out on the pace car. Are they going green this time?
Mike, we're about ready to get this Daytona 500 underway.
Dan Marino,
I think so.
not just an observer and the flag waver, he's the co-owner
Yep, they'll
of
be going
driver
green this
13,
time.
driven by Jerry
Luke
Nader.
Loader, thanks for tuning in. Championship provisional. I figured that was why he was starting deep in the field. That I wasn't sure if that was the only way he got in or not, though. Should know this. I knew of the Champions provisional. I just didn't know if that's why he qualified his way in.
The 40th Daytona 500.
I wasn't around in '98. I wasn't born until the next year.
The brothers Labonte head off with a lead, but Jeff Gordon got a slow start. He was down on the apron when they dropped the green flag.
Well, that's interesting. Maybe he was dropping to the rear. It's like I'm already most of the way there.
As 43 cars uncoil down the back straightaway.
How far ahead the Labonte's got. Like, they're so far ahead of everybody else. They're going to mow him down, though. Slowly. Now, this was a different super speedway package than what we saw in the 06 race. I think they changed the package 2001. They changed the super speedway package. Well, actually, it would have been the Talladega Fall race in 2000 where they changed it.
But you have a few of them trying to top that already.
Thunderbird last year. Watching live from Winston-Salem, North Carolina when it originally aired. All the trash on the back straightaway. They had a party going on back there. Almost looks like there's more cars on the outside than the inside.
Could be a problem.
Okay, now like the top 5 or 6 move down to the bottom in the middle of the corner.
So they don't get the air they need.
On entry into the corner, though, it looked like more of them were on the top.
NASCAR legislated them away. We brought them back here at Daytona with NASCAR's approval. You're right on top of the windshield of Jeff Bodine's car.
If you want to know what it looks like to the driver, this is as close as you can get. You go down in the corner, this is what we call the high groove.
Sounds perfect, awesome. Hot dog wrappers, yeah. Food wrappers. As long as there's no aluminum out there.
And as you notice, as they went through that turn, it didn't look like it was 31 degrees of banking.
So Bobby Labonte led the first lap of the race. Terry Labonte's birthday was yesterday? Oh, okay. I'm not sure what a lot of drivers' birthdays are.
That's Mike Wallace is the meat in that sandwich as they come off the corner.
Boy, this is not a good area of the track to be running 3 abreast. I'm not sure there is a good area of the track to run 3 abreast. Good point.
Everyone makes it through okay. The front 7 cars have broken out single file. From that back straightaway, tilting sharply into that 31-degree banking of turn 3. And there's those 7 cars out front, single file.
You can almost kind of tell where the seeds are planted for Michael Waltrip going to DEI. I noticed that the 2021, which is Waltrip, Michael, in this race, is like right behind Dale Jr. or Dale Sr. right now. I had no clue Ralph Shaheen worked for CBS back in the 90s.
Good news for the defending champion of the 500 now.
I did not know he was one of the pit reporters.
He's the burger and the bun on the low side is Bobby Hamilton.
I didn't realize he's been around that long in the TV world.
You don't want to be in that position, but what can you do about it? There's nowhere to go.
I didn't think he worked for anybody NASCAR-wise until TNT.
On the bottom side,
The late 2000s.
needs to get in line right now. If you don't, he's just going to go to the back. He has some help. One looked over, decided not to go with him, so you can watch him just fade back as they go by.
You're riding with Mark Martin. That white dotted line denotes the edge between the banking and the flat apron of the racetrack. Don't go left of that line.
Well, you can. You just don't want to in the middle of the corner. They had to have been harder to see than what it is now with the double yellow, too.
Find a lane.
They're being hashed like that.
And that's no man's land because the group just streamed.
There's a lot of 3-wide racing going on mid-pack all of a sudden. Oh my gosh. 94 about got squeezed.
Same position, but thank goodness Elliott got himself in a low.
Bobby and Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin.
Waltrip moved up to the outside. And so did the leaders. Now Earnhardt's on the bottom.
Look at that orange car in the top groove. Michael Waltrip coming.
And keep your eye just below him at Dale Earnhardt. He's moving up right now. You see the two of them side.
Yep, see now Waltrip's letting Dale back in. They were working well together even before Waltrip. I mean, Waltrip only had one race, I guess, at DEI while Dale Sr. was around. But
Looking at Michael Waltrip, who drives for the Wood Brothers.
no wonder he had a lot of faith in him, though, signing him in the offseason before 2001.
You see Waltrip looking to the outside in the 125-mile qualifying races.
That was one thing I noticed in the 99 500, which I've watched before. I just haven't really watched like this one, but it's kind of the same, at least early with the... Well, Waltrip was in the 7 in 99, but just the fact that he was working with Dale Sr. a lot.
He has been running the low groove since the green flag dropped. Sometimes the high groove they get a run off of there can be better.
Probably an annual tradition.
Now, seems to be working pretty good for him.
And that 7-car single file line is now just 5 as they jostle behind the black car of Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, somebody pulled out a line. Who's going 3? Ernie Irvin?
Down to the inside in that rainbow-colored number 36.
Jimmy Spencer! My gosh, he was so close to Rusty Wallace in the middle of the corner. He thought about going down to the bottom in front of Bobby Hamilton too, but he ended up. He did get down. I think Bobby Hamilton lifted and let him in. He was bobbing and weaving all over the place. Hold your line, Jimmy.
Highest grandstand in the place, spotting for his driver, Rusty Wallace. Rusty just called up and said, Roger, where would you like me to run? High or low? He said, you're doing a good job. Just hang in there.
Now look at Rusty and his teammate right there, Jeremy Mayfield. The 2 and the 12 car similarly painted. They are teammates. Ned, they look like they've got a trailer hitch between them.
I'm sure that was planned, Mike. We saw a lot of cars drafting in practice out there yesterday together to see which ones worked good together, and Jeremy Mayfield was very, very good in that 12 car, so he's right there with his partner now.
I wonder what their heart rates were like in this time versus like now. I wonder if it was like higher. I mean, it probably was, because I feel like drivers probably now are in better shape than drivers were in the 90s, athletic-wise. So they probably ran higher beats per minute, but it's got to be more intense, though, at the same time, too, just knowing that there isn't as much downforce with the cars with this super speedway package anywhere close compared to what we see now. And the track itself has less grip than what it does now. Not just the car itself, but the track also. We really see him moving around quite a bit in the middle of the corner.
Black number 33 moves up just in front of Bodine's number 7. Way down on the bottom is Kyle Petty in 44.
Wow. A lot of... Okay. I'll tell you what, Ernie Irvin's making some moves in that 36 car. I thought he was going to try to take Michael Waltrip 3 wide there for a second, going into turn 1. He went 3 wide earlier. Oh, somebody got blocked below the... Oh, Gordon, Jesus, he's almost in the grass. Wow. Chad Little that forced him down there?
It was for a moment.
Chad Little about shoved Jeff Gordon down the grass. Hans device was optional at the time? Yeah. Yeah, they didn't have the safety inside the car either. Inside or outside that we do now. On top of the fact that there's probably less grip also. Talk about trusting the people around you.
He's going up into the top 20. He is flying in that
Oh, man, Bobby Hamilton.
Many said that was the car to watch to win it.
Now Bobby Hamilton's all over the place. Amazing off the exit of the corner how far towards the wall they end up sliding up. They get so close to the car on their outside in the middle of the corner.
How far would he run? He said, oh, probably the first 200 laps.
And if you lift, you lose with the restrictor plates. So, I mean, you got to try to stay on the gas, obviously, as much as you can. But in that situation, you got to protect the guys around you, especially this early in the race, too. I was born in 1804. Not quite.
Last in that line on the inside of the racetrack up to 19th position. After starting 43rd,
Mr. Excitement.
because he crashed
Jimmy
his
Spencer.
primary car on Thursday, had to run a backup car in the 500.
It's amazing how quick that got single file. I mean, they were just racing 2 and 3 wide in the middle of the pack for a while there.
I wonder how hard Schrader hit the wall on Thursday. This is the steering wheel he was hanging on to. Look at how this thing is bent. It's all supposed to be straight, not even close to straight. Man, he's a tough guy to be out there racing right now.
Schrader won.
That was during the dual race then.
You and I have probably been on
Said on Thursday.
I don't think I ever bent one that bad. No, that was, as Dick said, he's a tough customer to be out there now. But he's very determined because he could win an extra $1 million if he wins this race today.
He is third in that inside line. 13 laps complete. Bobby Labonte leads Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt.
I was going to say, they weren't a single file in the middle of the corner that time. I wonder if that second group's going to start to catch back up.
A young man by the name of Stephen Bradley recently passed away due to cystic fibrosis, one of Kenny's personal charities. On his bed, he said to Kenny, Kenny, please win the Daytona 500 for me. It's the only thing I've ever asked from you. And that is what he's trying to do here today. His daughter Dorothy told him, Daddy, Stephen is racing across heaven cheering you on today.
Likely so. To do it, though, Schrader will have to get past Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett in 4th, Derek Cope, the 1990 winner in 5th. Terry Labonte now back to the 6th spot.
Rusty making a move.
Last year's pole sitter is 7th, Michael Waltrip 8th.
Oh,
Jimmy Spencer, Ernie Irvin.
One Labonte trying to get around another. That's not Labonte, my bad. Well, I mean, Bobby's in the lead, but Terry wasn't in second. First lead change. That's going to allow that pack to close in. Look at how quickly they doubled up once they got side by side for the lead. Once they weren't single file anymore, it was on from there. I was sleeping there for a second. I didn't realize Sterling Marlin was in second. I remember the 5 going back to 5th. Oh, don't do that. Good heavens. I thought he was going to try to squeeze between Labonte and Earnhardt.
You're looking back at him right now. These guys are going at it. There is no 2-car draft, 4-car draft.
No 180 FPS. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, 500's in early February. Well, about mid-February. They haven't had a commercial yet either. Until now. That was the first commercial. They would have had a commercial well before like lap whatever it was, like 15, 16. Nowadays they would have had a commercial at like lap 6 or 7.
Earnhardt, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Derek Cope, Terry Labonte, Mike Skinner.
Racing was pretty intense at the front of the field, and then they come back a couple laps later from the commercial break. It's back to single file. All it takes is a couple cars getting side by side. Oh, Earnhardt's in the lead now, too. I think. Is that him?
Back behind him, it's a war zone. Look at it.
Wow, you can see how close Hamilton and the 4-car come to hitting the wall as he come off the corner there. That was even too close if he meant to come off wide.
And it looks as if the cars in the low groove of that pack are
honestly, the sounds on the super speedway of the like the close-up like cameras and audio mics up near the wall, the super speedways with the Gen 4. Greatest sound in the world. Oh, we got more blocking below the white line. I'm talking about being aggressive. They're still 2 and 3 wide in that second group, but that's why they're losing everybody else. They're more organized with that front 6, and they're pulling away. Plus, they got a fast car lead in the pack too.
Leads this race today. Everybody wonders, can he finally win it? Everything seems to have happened to Earnhardt. He's been upside down. He has had
Ted
a
Musgrave.
in the front of the car. He's run out of gas. He's had a
I think he won a truck championship, didn't he? Well, he might not have won a championship in the truck series. I know he raced and won quite a bit in the truck series. I don't think he ever won a cup race, though.
There's also a fresh engine in the number 2 car, Bobby Labonte's Pontiac. Yesterday in the last practice, they didn't think that motor had enough power. Jimmy Maker told me
I don't know who Bill Stevens is. It almost sounded like Chris Myers for a second. It threw me off.
Right off the shelf. Ralph Shaheen.
Sorry, I don't know who Bill Stevens is. Maybe if I saw his face, I'd maybe recognize.
Formula One team to develop new things for Winston Cup competition. Seems to be working here today. They run it for
20 laps, 50 miles, average speed 186 miles per hour.
Haul it.
We'll be working on Buddy Baker here today. Keep this up.
1980, fastest 500 ever, Mr. Baker won it.
Well, that's why they call them records. They can be broken. These guys are doing a great job out there right now. The one thing I want.
Is that still the fastest 500 to this day, 1980?
As they run along, they get better.
Kind of curious.
They have a tremendous amount of.
I don't know how many cautions they would have had that year.
Through the corners, and right now they're running 2nd and 4th.
I guess it'd be caution laps, not so much cautions themselves.
Major force this year.
The top forward at the moment is Michael Waltrip, who is running 8th.
5 cars begin to break away from 6th place Mike Skinner, trying to run down that single file draft. Skinner number 31 in blue and yellow.
I believe they're beginning to do it, Mike, now that they've sort of singled out back there behind those others.
44, right side of your screen, that's Kyle Petty. His granddad won this race in 59. His father won it 7 times, and Kyle's making a charge. He started 39th. He's moved up to 16th.
Wow. 21 spots in 23 laps.
Petty Andretti.
Gordon on the
and
move,
also,
too.
Chad Little, they're coming on the high side and really moving by.
And that red and white number 23 there is Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy Spencer throwing some blocks.
Into this race because he runs so well in the qualifying race.
Moved up right in front of John Andretti.
Down on the inside, you just didn't go for it. Now he's getting up and down the line. Maybe you can pick up a little bit. 3 wide. You're going into the turn.
Chad Little on the high side, and that green car had to give way. Kenny Irwin Jr. in 28 was down on the bottom. And things got pretty close there going into turn 1.
Darrell Waltrip still in last. Started 43rd, he's still 43rd. I wonder if he even kept up with the pack. Unless anybody went a lap down during the commercial break, I don't notice anybody a lap down right now. They have like a live leaderboard, but they don't have the intervals. I think Fox was the first to actually have the intervals between the leaders, well, between the entire field. So I'm not sure if we're going to know who's going to be a lap down or not when the time comes. If there's lap traffic. I don't know how long of green flag runs they had in this race. Ernie Irvin trying to go up the middle 3 wide now. He's making 3 wide moves. He'll go to the middle, he'll go to the bottom. Ernie Irvin is a wheelman. You've kind of insane at the same time.
It's awful early in the race. We have pit stop.
Ernie Irvin's making the, him and Jimmy Spencer are the two making the biggest moves right now. Or attempting to, at least. Sam Otting, thanks for tuning in also.
Mike, the Wood brothers made it here.
17 years ago, same weekend, 500 started watching NASCAR. He's been hooked ever since.
Finished second in the twin 125s, and he's running up the front here, all because of one gear change.
Well, that's Waltrip's 21 on the outside. He won the Winston All-Star race, but he's looking for his first point race win.
Well, he'll have to wait a few more years.
Cool and very windy.
Hate to break it to you, Mikey, but you're not going to get one in the 90s at all.
There's Mike Skinner on the bottom.
Gotta wait a few more.
Michael Waltrip up top. Chevy versus Ford. And here are your leaders.
Mike, you can see the first 5 cars there getting into the
Who was in that
next.
Who was in that lead pack that lost them? There was 6 cars, now there's 5. Was it Waltrip? Was he up there, or was he in that second group the whole time? Interval between first and 6th is 1.1 seconds. At least they update that from time to time. That's a little nice to know. Better than nothing the entire time. Ariel Diaz, thanks for tuning in. Ratings from Brazil.
Are about to be joined by 3. Mike Skinner in 31.
Oh, Mike Skinner's starting to run down that second group. It's kind of coincidental that the RCR cars are the ones that are leading the groups right now. I think that tells you who's got the most power under the hood in this race. Mike Skinner won a couple dual races at Daytona. He never won a points race in the Cup Series, but he always won a bunch of exhibition races. Didn't he win like both races in Japan too? The guy won like 4 or 5 exhibition races, but never actually won a points race.
You have 2 motors instead of 1 in there. You really accelerate.
Dale Earnhardt, your leader, looking back.
Buddy Baker's 1980 500 still the fastest.
Just behind them, Sterling
That's
Martin
wild, considering it's that
on the
long
high side of
ago.
the racetrack, and he is getting kicked.
That'd be kind of cool to see
back
that
in
be
the field.
broken someday.
Mike Skinner has gone past him, so is
I mean, it's
Michael
possible.
Waltrip, and now too, Ernie
Even with stage cautions, they just have to like not wreck the rest of the race.
To help him
You never know.
The others just drove by down on the inside. You can see Sterling Marlin in car number 40 is up there by himself with nobody drafting on him right now.
And that just proves Buddy's point. One car alone cannot run as fast as cars lined up single file. Ralph?
Mike, we talked to the crew chief, Tony Glover, for Sterling Marlin. They are getting a little bit loose in that number 40 car right now, and that's why he is drifting back.
Oh, Marlin, yeah, that's right. He was in that lead pack because he led for a little bit, and then when they went to the commercial break, Dale Earnhardt was in the lead.
Most of the drivers that we are listening to on the radios are telling their crews they're having a hard time differentiating between chassis problems and the wind buffeting them around on the racetrack. That'll make it especially difficult for them to adjust the cars when they come in on pit stops.
No, he just won 1.
Jeff Bodine into the tri-oval here at the start-finish line. 18 degrees of banking. Let's see as they roll off into turn 1 just how much those cars are dancing around.
Mark DeMars, welcome into the stream.
We're on the high side, and really you don't get the effects of the wind like if you were a little bit away from the wall where the wind's really traveling about. But what it feels like, you've passed a car on the interstate and your car gets in that vacuum.
Jeff Gordon's up to
like
13.
I
don't think he finished the race, if I remember correctly.
Now, Jeff Gordon,
I don't think Gordon finished.
On number 2, just ahead, Rusty Wallace.
I could be wrong.
Wallace came right
I could be way wrong.
to take that low lane away from Gordon.
Don't answer that question in the chat if you do know.
Dale Earnhardt, 20 years of trying to win the Great American Race. He is your leader. Bobby Labonte, Derek Cope, Terry Labonte, Mike Skinner, and Michael Walker.
I like the outro music as they're going to a commercial. Oh, this is the 40th anniversary. I didn't even realize it was a round number.
You won't miss a second of the racing action because CBS Sports Line brings you all the latest news from Daytona. Columns, interviews, driver bios, and more.
This year will be the 65th.
Today's overhead shots, courtesy of the Goodyear
65th running in 500.
This year, Goodyear will double its blimp fleet to 6.
Patty at Rumdy Creations, thanks for tuning in.
South America. Dale Earnhardt leads the Daytona
I bet.
500 after 34 laps.
Bet the entire motorsports world was just going insane with this finish of this one.
Car, that signifies he's one of 5 cars eligible for R.J. Reynolds' $1 million bonus.
Who's R.J.
Finishing
Reynolds?
in the top 5 at Talladega in October, they can put an extra $1 million in the bank if they win here today.
Who's R.J. Reynolds and who's giving these guys $1 million? Why is he giving these guys $1 million?
They could win it. That's $2 million. We have the first pit stop coming up right now.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. I was gonna say about what 35, 40 laps pit window. Oh, somebody's making a move to the outside.
Pit stops begin. This looks a little early as Kyle Petty comes in for right side tires.
I gotta say, of the Hot Wheels paint schemes, this one is not ranking very high for me. It kind of looked like an ugly car. I don't like the way the circle was around the door, the number on the door. Credit to Bobby Labonte though; he's ran pretty much top 2 the entire race. I'm curious to know how they never showed the replay of how Earnhardt got to the lead during the commercial break.
Mike Skinner, Earnhardt's teammate, in 5th.
Never showed a replay of him passing Sterling.
Coming up fairly soon, Larry McReynolds is crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. When will you pit and what will
Doing pretty
you
good, Blub.
Well, we can run about 60 or 62 laps on fuel, but you know at Daytona you gotta kind of go with the flow. You know, even though we can run that far.
It's weird that they're talking to him during the race. I'm used to hearing his voice during the race as a commentator, not a crew chief.
Getting slicker and breezier.
Happy with the car?
Yeah, you know, right now, if I knew it was going to be leading, we'd have put more tape on it because it's pretty cool right now, but we can't count on leading all day long. And our
oh, there he goes. Is Earnhardt pitting this time? Is that why he's dropping down?
Proud for him, proud to have him here now.
No, he's not pitting. They just worked well together to get by him.
And Derek Cope with him.
Derek Cope up to P2, maybe. And Derek Cope's been up in that lead group the entire time too, though. And about top 5 the whole race.
One thing he has to do, though, he has to deal with
R.J. Reynolds was the so he was like the founder or owner of Winston.
And there's a bright bit of color right in that pack, and here it comes. Jeff Gordon is caught in the front pack. He nestles right up behind Dale Jarrett's Ford.
He saw Jarrett go high going.
I mean, they did do a lot for the sport, though, as a title sponsor, for sure.
Said, hey, let me try that. They got a good run. And
I'd probably say more so than any other title sponsor for NASCAR has done. I mean, they've only had a few since, but just the money they put into the sport alone. All the bonuses for winning particular races. Terry put back in the sucker hole. Oh, he got loose. Oh, man, he got loose, and then he stuffed the 31 of Skinner into the wall. Wow. How do they not wreck? I think the wall might have saved Skinner, but hopefully it doesn't have too much damage. He's still kind of wobbly in the middle of the corner, though. Still trying to catch it.
Terry Labonte is definitely having a little bit of trouble with his car.
He's like, can I just pit now? He's like, I need tires. Just let me pit now. Dale Jarrett's in the middle. He'll get to the bottom behind Waltrip.
Lucky we didn't have a caution there.
Joining that group of front cars there is Kenny Schrader, who started back in 31st, so he's done a great job of coming up through the pack.
Look at Labonte's car just in front of Mark Martin. Dance coming off the corner.
Oh.
That's a pretty bad feeling when you have to turn right.
Yeah, let me pause it for a quick second. Is it still laggy? Or is it... Give me a second. I think we're good. It might have just been there for that second. I hope.
To go left. When that back end starts around, you have to steer into the slide, and that's going opposite of what you really need to do. Good handling race cars, you turn left to go left.
Off turn 4. Oh, and Labonte again. That car just wiggled loose just a bit. In the blink.
Hopefully you guys saw the Terry Labonte Mike Skinner contact without anything happening there.
Could be too long.
You can see the flag there. It's really blowing.
It's always windy in Daytona, I feel like, every year.
They
always talk about it, the wind being a factor.
And when you get up beside somebody, the vacuum from the inside car to the outside car is unbelievable.
I didn't realize the stream was lagging there for a quick second.
Turn 2. Ken Schrader in that green 33. And trying to squeeze between him and 99 Jeff Burton. It's Dale Jarrett, the 96 winner.
And look at Kenny Irwin, buddy. He has come from 38th position up there with the lead pack.
That's that black and red number 28. There's Irwin, the rookie. Bill Stevens.
And that second group caught up, and then they split apart after the contact between Skinner and Labonte. For those of you that might have missed it, Terry Labonte got loose off of turn 2. He was in the middle lane, 3 wide, kind of put it back in the sucker hole. He was all by himself, and then he got really loose off the exit of turn 2, and he made contact with Skinner. That Skinner brushed the outside wall, but
Before the Daytona 500.
they didn't wreck, though, somehow. It did stall the pack out, though. Now it's a 5-car breakaway at the front of the field because of it again. Or right around there.
And he pushed 190 miles an hour there at one point.
There was a couple cars that pit already, right around lap 36. Nobody else is pit.
And he heads back toward the start-finish line. 41 laps complete. Bobby Labonte leads Dale Earnhardt.
I mean, it's a 4-stop race if they just pit now, pretty much. Every 40 laps or so.
Jeff Gordon is on the move.
You got to make sure you have some drafting help with you. Man, Gordon's up to 6th. And there's the contact between Labonte and Skinner.
Things get very close.
Terry Labonte is very sideways.
And with the wall just a bit ago.
Todd
We are
Grisham.
still under green from the drop of the first flag. 45
I can't tell you who he is other than his name. Pete Creamer, thanks for tuning in.
And a number 36 with him. A Chevy and a Pontiac. Derek Copes, number 30, in the 4th place. Chevrolet has led 23 laps today. Pontiac 22. Ford has not put a car up front. Not yet.
I am so impressed with Jeremy Mayfield running along there. I mean, he moved to 4th place way back. He's doing a super job.
There's more than 6 cars in that lead draft now.
Bobby Labonte got shuffled from the lead back to
Every time they cut away, Earnhardt gets back into the lead under the commercial break, and they never show how he got to the lead. Ernie Irvin's all by himself. Oh man, he had all those spots, and then he got too aggressive. He's been the most aggressive of any driver so far in this race.
Look at Irvin, alone in the top lane. He is being, as they say in the garage area, hung out to dry or clotheslined. There's nothing else with him. Now he is tacked onto the back of the lead.
Oh, they all moved up, and Labonte stayed down low because the 36 is on his outside.
100 miles.
He might clear him going into the corner. Tough to tell. Gordon's up to 4th, too. He split apart the Penske cars. Robin's racing. Well, he didn't mean to make contact. He just got a little loose.
We can show you how fast that feels, folks. Someday you have to come here.
He wasn't trying to lean on him. You would never try to lean on a guy like that off the exit of a corner at Daytona.
Counted 200 miles an hour, and I couldn't get out of the way, too.
One car way up high, almost brushing the wall back of the leaders as they try to work in that second pack.
Noah Coleman, thanks for tuning in also.
21. He really
Grissom was a Busch Series champ. I mean, you know more than me.
Don't believe he made any contact.
Back crash at Atlanta in 97.
A little while ago, but now has dropped back to around 10th or 11th.
He and Mark Martin drafting together. Those are two
Season
of the new
finale, I would
Ford Taurus
assume.
body style.
Guys, it's time to talk about pit stops a little bit. There's a lot of things going on down there. You can see the crew starting to move around, getting ready for the first.
Oh, they got the intervals on the screen now. They didn't have that before. I wish they would just keep it up there the whole time. That'd be nice.
Oftentimes, when the leader comes to pit road under green, many of the top contenders follow. But crew chiefs and their emissaries scurry up and down pit road.
They probably did it because everybody was in a big pack for a while, but then they kind of split apart. Well, it's weird. They'll split apart, and then they'll end up back together in one big pack again once somebody tries to make a pass on the lead. Anytime there's a lead change, that second group catches up once the leaders aren't single file anymore.
That time, Earnhardt cut down a tire and
Remember, there's bonus points for leading laps, too, so that's probably some of the reason why they're challenging for the lead as early as they are, especially the championship contenders like Bobby Labonte, Dale Sr. that have led laps. Who else has led?
49 laps.
I know Ernie Irvin tried to go for the lead. I mean, he was a championship contender in the 90s. Maybe not so much in the late 90s, but you always think of yourself as a championship contender when the season starts. More often than not. I mean, it depends on what equipment you're in, obviously. Like Corey LaJoie's not going out and starting next season thinking he can win the championship. Like that's not necessarily the case. But even if you're a guy like Alex Bowman, for instance, who won one race this year, outside of 2021, he hasn't won more than a race, but you still think they can go out and compete for the championship. And the equipment he's in, it's doable.
It is indeed, Ernie Irvin. Head towards the pit, number 36.
Bill Stevens.
Nope.
Ernie Irvin slides in.
Now we've really got pit stops. I was surprised they went as long as they did.
Bobby Labonte car, and their deal was, let's do.
They must have had a different.
They only wanted to do 2, but Bobby said, well,
I mean, the fact that they've gone 50 laps, they might have a bigger fuel cell.
should we get the tire
They had to have had a bigger fuel cell in 1998
right rear, and away Ernie goes.
than even what they did in like
Ernie
the
Irvin, though, by pitting
mid
by
2000s.
himself, has lost that lead draft.
I wonder if that might have changed with the package though too, back in 2000,
Marcus is in.
late 2000 into the early 2001 season on the super speedways.
He would go a lap down. He is on
Like, it might be a 3 pit stop race at Daytona. That's ridiculous, honestly.
You cannot make a pit stop at Daytona without losing a lap. The NASCAR mandated 65 mile per hour speed limit down pit
Boss
road
Brody, also
is
welcome into
largely
the stream.
responsible for that. Earnhardt picks up the draft off Ernie Irvin, and he will pull the field past
Is he gonna try to block?
Irvin will need a full
No. He's been aggressive in the race. That's the only reason I thought. I was like, is he going to try to block Earnhardt, try to stay in the lead lap?
You can do about it, just sit there and watch him drive by.
I wonder how split apart everybody's going to be.
Sachs, number 98 is in, and Steve Grissom, last year's front row starter, driving for Cale Yarborough, a multiple winner of this event. Greg Sachs makes his first stop of the day. The leaders stay out. Earnhardt, Colt, Mayfield, the youngster.
I don't know who Hillerberg is.
And Jeff Gordon, the youngest driver to ever win this event, is up to 4th place.
4 cars from the back of the field coming in.
Yeah, there were a couple names in the lineup that I honestly didn't really know who they were. Oh, a lot of cars in now.
Musgrave is in. John Andretti part of that group as well.
Steve Park, Bobby Hamilton, Rick Mast,
And Jerry Nadeau.
and also Ricky Rudd.
Most of these are cars that started in the second half of the field, and seeing the leaders move away and seeing their cars running a little bit slower, feel that putting on new tires will pick them up in speed.
It's the race within the race.
A little earlier than some of the leaders. Now here comes
Oh, the Penske cars don't have the numbers. A lot of them stayed out, but they ended up going in. Oh, my God. Oh, they got a wreck. There's a wreck. There's a wreck. There's a wreck somewhere back there. Either that or somebody locked the tires up. I saw all the smoke. I think somebody just locked their tires up. I thought somebody spun back there. Derek Cope staying with Earnhardt. That's probably a good idea. I think you could kind of tell early on, at least if you're a driver that was at the front of the field most of the time, that Earnhardt's got one of the cars to beat. Kenny Schrader having an issue on pit road. Sorry, Ricky Craven. I saw the Bud sponsorship, and I all of a sudden just thought of Kenny Schrader. Yeah, Waltrip's in the 21. Uncle Car Guy.
Well, Michael Walker's coming with him, and Mark Martin.
Long pit stop for Ricky Craven. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, they were hoping to have somebody come down pit road with them, but they got to the point where they had to come in one way or the other. Jeff really had to drive hard to find his way.
Racing was crazy and insane. I mean, I think it has been. Change with the Gen 6. I still think it's like that to a certain extent. The cars have a little bit more mechanical grip now. And honestly, a lot of the tracks at this time, though, had an older surface to them than what we see now also. And I think that's kind of hindered the racing product. That's why the racing product at other tracks like at Darlington, Auto Club, you know, tracks that have a lot more wear to them, even Richmond to a certain extent, drivers are on the edge of control, and those are typically the, at least what I would think the better races are. Homestead and Daytona was kind of like that at this time. Different in the sense that it was a lot higher speed, and obviously with the restrictor plates it was way more on throttle time, but handling meant a lot more here than what it maybe does now. Now, if you just have the ability to stay in the draft, you're going to have a good shot. Here you needed the car, the driver, and the handling. Now it seems like one of those could kind of overcome. If Denny Hamlin doesn't have the greatest car in the Daytona 500, he could probably still find a way to manipulate the draft because of how good he is on the super speedways and still find a way to win. We kind of needed a combination of that at this time, plus obviously the pit crew itself.
Very surprising that they could go 150 miles on a tank of fuel. They're clearing that right now.
Earnhardt's like 32 of 56 laps. I don't know who Standridge is either. I've seen his name on the board a couple of times.
Dale Earnhardt.
Davion West, welcome into the stream.
Every way imaginable in 1986. He ran out of gas while leading.
And we said that you couldn't make a pit stop and not lose a lap. Well, Jeff Gordon and
I mean, I just expect that. I've been expecting them to come down and pit pretty much since like lap 40, and nobody has. Well, I won't say no, but not everybody has.
Before that, they had great pit stops and got in and out the pits very good.
Yeah, that's big. Rusty Wallace and Jeff Gordon got up to speed quicker. The problem is with Earnhardt staying out, I mean, he does have drafting help in front of him with faster cars because they have fresher tires. I think that's going to help him a bit more, but he doesn't have hardly anybody behind him, so I don't know where he's going to cycle here. I'd have to imagine it's going to be tough for him to hold on to the lead when he pits, for him and Cope. Gordon's in 5th. And Earnhardt's pitting this time. Gordon was literally 2 cars ahead of Earnhardt and Cope. And he was in 5th. So the last 4 are in right now. I saw Labate and whoever else was in 4th. Mike Skinner. Oh, Earnhardt knocking up those. It's crazy how much tire smoke. That's the second time I've seen a lot of tire smoke, somebody locking up the tires.
And in fact, there are 2 new outside front and rear tire changes. Jack Lewis on the front, Craig Lund on the rear.
There's a tire right in the middle of the... Is that Cope's tire? Was that... Well, how'd they just leave a tire there? I'm so confused. Why was there a tire there? That has to be a penalty, right?
Went into the pits together, come out of the pits
I mean, that would be an uncontrolled tire. You can't just leave a tire sitting there.
Changing those tires.
But Ned, you see, is there in the bottom lane. It takes a full lap to get up to speed.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, there was no way he was going to hold on to the lead.
Gordon is the new leader.
Yeah, that call wasn't... Way to go, Larry Mack.
Had a great entrance to pit road, got back up to speed well, had a great pit stop.
Ray Evernham, Gordon's crew chief and mentor.
And Chocolate Myers is only one of the best gas men in NASCAR.
Stop, and that's why he leads the Daytona 500.
Ever. One of the more respectable guys in the garage.
Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, this top tire here is the one that came out the right front of Sterling Marlin's car. You can see
94 is Bill Elliott.
It didn't explode like this right away. He stayed out on the track and kept running on it as it lost air out of that little hole.
Wow.
It finally let go and just about shed its skin. He's lucky he didn't get it into the wall.
How did that tire like not just completely come apart?
Again, here are your front duo, Gordon and Wallace.
He was one of the guys that were really loose. Him and Terry Labonte, from what I noticed, are the guys that started towards the front of the field, were super loose later in that run.
We'll be right back to the Daytona 500.
The Goodyear blimp. Watch Dale be in the lead, come back from the... Every time they've came back from a commercial break, Dale Sr.'s been back in the lead. Even though he wasn't in the lead at the start of it. They haven't showed any of his passes for the lead yet.
4 different leaders, 5 lead changes, and it's a record pace. Over that mark of Buddy Baker back in 1980 at 183 miles per hour. No cautions today, and everybody is still trucking out on the speedway. Joining me right now, 4-time winner of the Daytona 500, Cale Yarborough.
We want to see the race, Ken.
First question, Greg Sachs is out there. You're running out of the top 30. What's happening?
Good to see Cale.
Well, we either got a shot.
We want to see the race, not Cale's face, sorry. I'm fine with listening to Cale Yarborough. Just show the action while you're... There we go. There we go.
We just don't know. So many working.
If Fox did that now, then people would be yelling at the TVs kind of like I was.
What about this race, Cale? What do you think?
They're like, oh, you're Fox's production again.
This long without a caution flag is unusual for the Daytona 500, but it's quite a race. Great American race.
Yeah, it sure is. You've won it 4 times. What's most memorable to you about winning?
Man, what happened back there? They just panned over and they were 3x3.
Something that I'll never forget.
Somebody was slow on the outside. I don't know if maybe they got the wall or lap car.
And we did it early on in our career in 1968, and it was probably one of my biggest wins. I'll never forget it.
It was a great battle with
JoJo, welcome to the stream.
Cale, good luck.
Pulling for Mayfield.
Back to Mike Joy, and we'll follow this record-breaking race.
Thanks, Ken. You saw Dale Earnhardt there at 9th place.
Honestly, that pack didn't really split apart too much. Wow, Dale Sr. cycled so far back. I mean, he's probably, what, about 15th? Right around there? And Terry Labonte gained quite a bit of time. He's back up to 5th after losing a lot of track position before he pitted, so he must have had a fast stop.
Introduction to the race today.
Ernie Irvin in 3rd.
Track position, I can't begin to tell you, as close as these cars
14? Is that Casey Atwood? Does that sound... No, not Casey Atwood. Forget I said that. I don't know why. That popped in my head because that was his number in the Busch Series a long time ago. 14. I'll have to wait. Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know.
Among the cars that got good pit stops.
And a guy who might have had a good pit
Can't believe I
stop,
said Casey Atwood.
coming into the pits was Sterling
That was the first name that popped in my
Marlin,
head.
this race. He's about to go a lap down. He's not far from being a lap down.
How old is Cale? Right now I have no clue. I don't even know how old he was at this time. It wasn't that long retired. Well, maybe about 10 years or so.
And they picked up a hitchhiker
Right
in the
around there.
inside lane, Steve Park. The former modified ace, winner of Grand National races last year, is 1 lap down.
He's back up to
He
9th.
is driving a car owned by Dale
Ward
Earnhardt,
Burton
and
behind
he has
him.
picked
Mike
up their
Skinner's
draft,
down on the bottom,
trying to help propel them back
trying
the
to hang
front.
on.
That right side of your screen, that yellow and black car, is Park from Long Island, another second-generation NASCAR driver.
Where's his dad, Bob Park?
Lap 66.
Finished second to Richie Evans in the National.
Yeah, Lake Speed's in the 9.
This is
Robbie
the group they're
third.
trying to catch.
387, thanks for tuning in.
Rusty Wallace,
So Dale Sr.'s led the most laps so far. This is the first time Jeff Gordon's led today. He started pretty deep in the field, too.
Has put forth an absolutely Herculean effort on this race car. That car is a brand new vehicle, but it's had 6 different bodies on it.
Gordon was literally tough to beat everywhere. Road course, super speedway, just short track. Like, he can literally win any given Sunday. And I mean, you can say that about a lot of drivers, you know, over NASCAR, but I wonder what, like, the odds makers would have had Jeff Gordon back in the day, in the 90s.
This week in practice was uneven tire wear. I just looked at the tires.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was, like, plus 125 to win, like, a random, like, Bristol race or something.
They look pretty darn good.
Even Daytona, where you'd usually see the favorite at, like, 6 to 1, and he'd probably be, like, the favorite at, like, 3 to 1. Especially after the season he had before this in '98 was when he won 12 races. 13 races. Coming off that season, he was probably the favorite to win the 500, like 3 to 1, 4 to 1. About to look that up right now.
Terry Labonte back to about 8th position in that draft. Ralph Shaheen.
This is the right front tire off of Jeff Gordon's car. Now remember, he started 29th in the race. As he came up through the pack and he was behind cars, he developed a bad push due to the wind buffeting around the car. The tire tells the story. 140, 190, 200 degrees across the width of the tire. This means this car was pushing severely as it was going through the corners. Now that he is out front, the car's nice and loose. It's not so bad. The tire temperatures will be a lot different the next time around.
A great charge by Gordon. The greatest charge in the history of this race. Fireball Roberts, 1959, started 46th. Without a caution flag, he had the lead by lap 23. Took Jeff Gordon 59 laps to lead after starting in 29th. He's gained 28 positions.
That's Sterling Marlin.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to find anything.
Jeff Gordon's fixing to put him a lap down. Look at these cars fighting in the back here. Earnhardt side by side with Chad Little.
Not quickly, at least. I was hoping I could Google it and pop up immediately. Wikipedia have anything?
Side by side for 6th place, the black car.
Probably not.
In green and yellow, Chad Little. You're with Dale.
I'll worry about it some other time if I ever remember.
Down the straightaway to turn 1.
Kale's 83 now. Billy Carjoy, thanks for tuning in tonight.
Everybody's got an idea right now of where their car runs the freest. Dale Jarrett right now.
Gordon won 5 times at Indy,
You can see Earnhardt,
I believe.
the car just in front of him there, Mark Martin. So they're going to go right by Jarrett, going down in the corner.
Warren Burton in 22 will be moving up there on the inside.
I think it's pretty clear Dale got the quickest car in the field. I mean, look at how quickly he's moving through everybody.
You're on board, Dale.
Well, he probably did this a lot just because of how good he was on the super speedways too. But
He finally got some help. Chad Little's up
this
there
race
with
specifically,
just for a moment there, he was pedaling backwards, man.
Well, he made a move.
the stars were aligning,
Position. That's when it all started.
even though the pit strategy wasn't the greatest.
For a while, and
He's moving his way forward though.
Well, sometimes you just got to go blazing.
He's carrying that team on his back right now.
Hope you get some help. Mike Skinner now in 31. And Childress Chevrolet pulls up behind Chad Little's Jack Roush, number 97.
Ernie, is he making a move? Took a peek. Mark didn't go with him though.
It'll be okay, similar to what Jeff Gordon did a year ago. You know, remember he had a flat tire early in the race, and he was about to get lapped, and the leaders came around.
Yeah, so Sterling Marlin's actually last car in the lead lap.
Made up, so if Sterling Marlin could do that, you know, it might not be hurt too bad.
If Jeff Gordon passes him, Marlin has lost 1 lap to all the cars on the lead lap. Should that caution flag come out, he's got to fight to stay there.
Back in the back, they're getting restless. You can see them doubling up back there. And I think a lot of cars right now would like to get up in the
Martin
front.
trying to lead the charge up high.
Actually drive the racetrack and not have to worry about competition back in the back.
Bobby Labonte trying to pick his way back to the front, and that bright
Oh,
green
Ernie got
18,
hung out.
owned by
Nobody's working with Ernie.
Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs told Dan Marino, who's a new NASCAR car owner, this isn't near
This is
as
Keegan's
easy as winning
homework.
football games.
Yeah, I'm studying the race as it goes on.
Just riding along. You can see Jeff Gordon's arm in that last picture there. He's working that steering wheel pretty hard through the corners. You can see him just really right on the edge all the time. Hands moving really fast to keep that car right on the edge and keep it fast through the corners.
I mean, his hand, honestly, he looks pretty steady. I mean, yeah, he's fighting a little bit, but it seems like he's got a fairly good handling car. I feel like they'd go to some other guys back there, they'd be like, back and forth. This car looks pretty stable.
CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 will continue after this message and a word from your.
If I were him in there, I'd be like, don't die, don't die, don't die.
In celebration of NASCAR's 50th anniversary, CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 is sponsored by Brewery Fresh Budweiser.
Yeah, I have Amazon Prime.
Hey, race fans,
I'll be watching the game tonight.
Goodyear, innovators of run-flat technology, and by Pennzoil, specially formulated.
Goodyear, #1 tires. Let's fast forward to the next-gen car in 2022. We'll see if that sentiment's still true.
Race of the NASCAR season, the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon, number 24, the race leader. Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt.
There's not a lot of Goodyear advertisements throughout the course of a NASCAR race. Could you imagine, like during like the Texas playoff race or something, if like they go to a commercial break and they every commercial break is like got a Goodyear ad in it and talk about how good their tires are, and then cautions out another tire failure. Like that would not look very good PR-wise. I mean, it doesn't look good PR-wise in general when that happens, I would imagine, but during the race, though, with the ads airing, that wouldn't look good at all. It's not a good look for your company.
And now moves on to this new team owned by Bill Elliott and Dan Marino. And number 13, Jerry Nadeau, has been impressive this week.
The other thing I see, Earnhardt up to 4th already.
Who's that car ahead of? Oh, can't tell who that is. Yeah, they're definitely getting some scraggling lap cars from time to time now.
Right side of your screen.
Didn't really have that earlier in the race.
But has come back fighting to the front.
Now, we talked about Sterling Marlin a moment ago being able to hold on up front. He was not able to, and he has gone that lap down.
That's Marlin up on the high side, getting overpassed. Rather, that is Mike Wallace there. Marlin a little deeper in the pack.
Mike, we saw the problems that Terry Labonte was having earlier in the race with a loose race car. Well, they were able to.
Yeah, I can imagine when you go through that much heartbreak as a race fan, your driver losing like every single year, and the most, well, not the most important race as far as like championship goes, but the biggest race of the year.
Running just ahead of Ward Burton and Lake Speed. And here is your lead pack once again. Nadeau doing a good job.
A lot of big names have won here, and a lot of big names haven't won here in this particular race.
Yeah, but he's fixing to go a lap down. You can see
even to this day, modern day. So definitely a lot of prestige in winning this race.
Nothing you can do.
No matter who you are.
But these guys hooked up there, they just go right.
Jerry Nadeau, though, he's going to learn a lot about drafting at 190 miles an hour this week.
Certainly will. This is great experience for him. He did a good job in the 125-mile qualifying races on Thursday.
Robert Presley drove for Jasper Engines, blew up nearly every week.
And Derek Cole.
Carrying the Dolphin colors there for his new car owner.
Cope in the Bahari Racing ride vacated by Johnny Benson after last season. Benson torn up in a crash not of his own making.
Be fast enough to qualify for the race, get their earnings, and then spend their earnings on a new engine.
13 drivers came here to run and had to go home.
Ralph Shaheen been around for a long time. I think he still does like that like American flat track series. I think I've seen that like advertised during NASCAR races. I know it was on NBC Sports at the time, a couple years ago, and he was commentating that. I'd imagine he still commentates Supercross too. But yeah, I didn't realize he was a pit reporter in the 90s for CBS. I had no clue, honestly. I knew he was in NASCAR in the late 2000s with TNT. He was always working that summer series. He also he worked for Speed Channel too. He commentated a lot of World of Outlaw races, sprint car races for Speed Channel in the early 2000s. I can remember that pretty vividly too. That's probably where he went when CBS stopped airing NASCAR races after 2000. I think he just worked for Speed Channel after
This
that.
man has Dale Jarrett twice.
NASCAR during the
See
summer.
that line snake back and forth.
I honestly didn't realize Roush Shaheen was that old.
I think Chad Little wants to go. Here he comes up alongside Earnhardt.
Chad Little has to be just thrilled to death. Joined the Jack
Oh, man.
team, and you can see this guy.
Right as Ned Jarrett was like, Chad Little's got to be thrilled to death. He about put it in the wall.
Basically by himself, too. He didn't have a great deal of help. I mean, not right on his back bumper. Bobby Labonte was back there for a moment, but well, that's pretty impressive.
Well, now he has his team.
You got two cars on the bottom, Dale and Dale.
Run these guys down. Right now
They moved down the middle of the corner, though. Labonte better get down if he's going to get down. Did he take too long? Nope. Oh, man, Earnhardt. Who was that? He about stuffed in the wall there.
The others are Terry Labonte, Ernie Irvin, Kenny Schrader, and John Andretti.
I've been watching
Whoever he just cut off, I think it was Derek Cope. I'm not entirely sure. Whoever he just cut off cut him a big break. He just about stuffed a car in the wall. Pack's starting to get bigger, by the way, also. Oh, Bobby Labonte making the move now. Oh!
He's got some help. No, he doesn't. Earnhardt.
Chad Little's blocking top and bottom right now. Earnhardt gets around Labonte. And now he's going, and now he'll slide up. It's like, oh, if you won't do it, if you won't make the damn move, I will.
Buddy, that looked like the old Daytona slingshot. You folks would
Roush Shaheen's 58. I would have never guessed that.
when they had unrestricted horsepower and not so great aerodynamics.
Well, it's back to drivers right now.
That's pretty wild,
When
honestly.
you make a move like that, you hope you don't have to count on him when it really counts.
Every car show in New England, they'd always have Robert Presley's Jasper
And now
car.
he's back to 11th place.
Kyle Lance, thanks for tuning in.
Drew down on the inside and no drafting partner there, and boy, that just went by him right on the outside.
That's Michael Waltrip just ahead in the Wood Brothers Ford.
The great part of the draft is if you get with the right company around you, you can go.
Kevin
for
LePage
the
is 6
first
laps
2 or
down.
3 laps if you get a good run.
Look ahead of him, buddy.
Wonder if he's
Side
still
by
on the
side
track or
there in
not.
4th place.
It's still caution-free, by the way.
Earnhardt and Chad Little.
Chad right by himself. That's not good. He needs some help.
There's been action.
Earnhardt has Bobby Labonte with him. Earnhardt number
It's like
3.
it gets super active, and then it calms down for like 10 laps, and then it gets like ramped up for about another 10 laps, then it calms down for 10 laps. That's kind of how the race has gone so far.
Boy, I love that new shot that hangs out.
It's like right when it starts to like,
Forward like a traffic
it's like,
light.
all right, nothing's happened, and then it like stuff starts happening,
Two distinctive different styles of driving right now. Earnhardt
and then it
has got
dies
the
off
outside
after a little bit.
working when
The
he
drivers
needs
are
it.
probably like, okay, we should
He'll
probably
tuck in
settle
every
down a
once in
little bit.
while, and
It's only lap
he'll
85,
run around a
or at
little
the
bit,
time
run
less than
outside.
that,
He knows he has that part
and they
of the
start
racetrack if he
getting
needs it.
aggressive again.
50 years of NASCAR.
Kind of a weird race, honestly.
40 Daytona 500.
Usually, like, races are either, like, super calm, then they ramp up at the end,
Outcome of this one.
or, like, they're just
15 laps to halfway.
rapid all the way, like, through, just constantly battling.
16 years he's been
But this
looking
race,
to
it's kind of been a little bit of
this
both.
race. So is Mark Martin. So is Dale Earnhardt. So is Bobby Labonte. Chad Little, Derek Cole, Jeremy Mayfield, Mike Skinner, and Ernie Irvin, the top 10. Welcome back to Daytona.
It's the last driver to win back-to-back Daytona 500, Sterling Marlin. That's an easy question, especially for 1998. I mean, literally, that was only like 3 years. I was gonna say it was only 3 years before this race.
Wanted for the team that Bobby Hamilton is driving for today, and Jeff
Got to
Gordon
dig
is
deep.
trying to
You
win
got to
in
dig
his
deeper for
second
those
year
trivia questions, CBS.
today. Bobby Hamilton running near the tail end of the lead lap, though, in 28th position. Lee Petty in 1959, Marvin Patch in 1961, and Paul Roberts in 1962 drove to victory lane in a Daytona 500 run without a caution flag. Fireball was the first driver to win this race, starting on the
Oh, man. Yeah, they go to the outside quite a bit off the exit of the second turn and then down the back straightaway. Then they'll get back to the bottom in 3 and 4. So if you aren't in the out, like if you try to pull out a line and make a pass going into the corner, you better hope you're clear by the exit. Otherwise, you're going to get hung out to dry and you're going to lose a bunch of spots in the backstretch.
89 laps complete.
When it gets stranded out like this, once they get 2 and 3 wide, it's not as bad.
Baker.
might have a little more time to make the move. Yeah, LePage is out because he's 9 down now. So he pulled off.
177 miles an hour to win this race over 500 miles. Now, consider that when he did that, there were 15 laps of caution in that race, and he still powerhoused the field to establish that mark. But it's in jeopardy because as we're coming to halfway, they're averaging 184.7 today. So Buddy Baker's mark that has stood all these years is the one they're talking about in the press center right now.
Well, I certainly hope that we don't have a caution. I love the idea of having the record, but I want these guys to be safe for 500 miles, and competition's what the thing's all about. They're doing a great job today.
Jeff Gordon trying to take Baker out of the record book right here. 184 miles.
14 in 1998.
Rusty Wallace right with him. You're in with Mark Martin.
They'll be what, 73 now? I think he was 51 when he passed. So yeah, 73. 72. Somewhere around there. Race called off due to the... I don't know how that would happen, like a rain delay, but they didn't put the covers on the cars or something. Engines just got wet. It'd be an expensive weekend if everybody had to change engines for the start of the race.
Steve Meal is his crew chief here at the Daytona 500.
And right now he doesn't have a drafting partner, Dick. He's on the outside, and the train's going by him down on the inside.
Jeremy Mayfield, number 12, pulls alongside Bobby.
I personally don't mind stage racing. I just don't like the fact that there's a caution when the points are awarded, personally. I don't think it's as different of trying to get drivers to maybe race a little harder earlier in the race as what it is awarding bonus points for a lap led or laps led. So, I mean, that alone changes the strategy of like these races just a little bit with the Winston Cup points format.
Kyle Petty on pit road, 4-tire change.
Last car on the lead lap in 29th place, but he was the earliest one to pit before Mike, so he's a little off sequence from the others.
Jeff Gordon is pulling this train around Daytona, but it's Rusty Wallace, the man who wants to lead. He has not led the Daytona 500 since...
I can agree with you with the full season points format, though, but honestly, like, I don't think the stage racing's too bad. I just wish they didn't have cautions awarded for the stage points. I would actually say it puts way more strategy into it if you have the stages but without cautions.
Who comes right down to slam the door on his nose.
Especially on a long green flag run.
Not gonna make it.
Instead of knowing that caution's going to be coming out immediately after.
Right now. You don't only race out of the windshield.
That's just me personally.
You have a mirror in there that's almost a foot wide to look at your competition back there. You'll see right there. He pulled over a little bit.
Rusty Mirror driving.
Earnhardt went to the inside, and Rusty Wallace did the same thing.
Rusty saw it coming. He said, "No, sir, I'll block that spot."
Dale's backing way up.
In that pack,
and as he backs up, they're stacking up behind him. Oh, Michael Waltrip going 3.
It's Michael Waltrip on the inside.
Wow, what a drive by Michael.
He cleared him. Both of them.
Got a great run off the corner there.
Ernie Irvin was the one making the moves like that in the race, and that was Waltrip making the move on Ernie Irvin.
That's the green car.
They better be careful, though. They're going to lose all those guys at the front that keep doing this.
Both of those Roush cars.
That's what happens when they're, yeah, see, they're already starting to lose them.
5 laps to halfway. In the Great American Race, Jeff Gordon leads Rusty Wallace and...
They'll have the numbers to be able to catch them again once they get back to single file, if they do.
Daytona International Speedway, the biggest race of NASCAR, the Daytona 500. And as they come across the stripe in 2 laps, one of those drivers will be $10,000 richer.
See, one thing that's going to make that 1980 race tough to beat, too, for the average race speed, is the fact that that was before the restrictor plate era, so 177 miles per hour with 15 caution laps. If they had 15 caution laps in a race now, it wouldn't be 177 mile per hour average. Like, they would need a lot less than 15 now. They would probably need, like, single digits at least.
He goes downside. It sounds like that Chumbawamba song.
2 stage cautions nowadays too. I mean you're probably looking at least 6 to 8 laps of caution automatically. So you could probably get away with 1, maybe 2 cautions. As long as they're really quick. Like, if the big one comes out, there's no chance. There's no chance. But if it's a race like Talladega this year where we had that, like, 1 wreck, medium-sized wreck early in the race, and then that was pretty much about it, there might be a chance to break the 500 record someday. I mean, if they can do it at Talladega, they can do it at Daytona.
So you get that extra toe from the car in front of you. As they head down into turn 3, you can see a lap car there. As they start to the high side to get by, Jeff Gordon drifts up. The 2 car there.
Like Kyle Busch at Anderson Speedway in 2009.
When they come to the straightaway here, they go right out against the wall and right back into the tri-oval. That's a lap.
Not NASCAR racetrack. Cup Series at least.
He picks up $10,000.
I don't know if like K&N or anything races there. Or ARCA East and West now. Halfway, no cautions through half the race. It was like our Las Vegas race on Monday night on NASCAR 06.
Where she led almost every lap that year.
That's a great car, a great team. That's what it takes. I said at the start of the race.
Driver leading halfway has won 14 of 39 500s. Honestly, for this time period, that surprises me. That only that many have won.
Bobby Allison did
leading halfway. Like now, I could see it more, but up to this point though, in '98, I'm surprised more drivers didn't win leading half the race. Or at the halfway mark, I should say. Now it's showing the page out. Yeah, I figured he was out. I think he's the only car out of the race. I know I saw Waltrip a few laps down earlier. Daryl.
In the middle of the steering wheel, that centers up the steering. If he was to get in a spin where he had to center up to know where he was back straight.
Wings on late tonight.
And also when you make a pit stop, you can get the wheels.
Oh, this stream's gonna be over well before that.
When it's straight up, that's straight ahead.
I'll probably be flipping it back and forth between that and the Packers game. Once the Packers game is done, I'm going straight to bed. I have to work the next couple days.
Once you reach the halfway point of the race, if it should be called for darkness or rain, the race would be official. So we'll have a completed Daytona 500 today.
And the sun popped out just as we hit halfway.
They have no lights in '98? I thought they did.
Certainly better than the forecast.
They call that Bill France weather here in Daytona.
What was the first night race at Daytona?
This race has never been
I was thinking it was in the 90s.
It's been raining at 11:30 in the morning, and we've still started on time, gotten the whole race in. It's been rain shortened, but never rained out. Dick Berggren.
A little confused.
Jeff Gordon just called into his pit crew, and I'll tell you what, it's bad news for everybody else out here. Gordon said, I quote, I don't know what we can do to make...
As much as it rains in Florida, though, I'm quite surprised that it's only been rain shortened a couple times. And up to this point, it hasn't been rain shortened at all.
You can see he still has to work pretty hard in the corners. His hands are still moving pretty hard on the steering wheel. It's not just a ride around in the car. They still have
That's a track record in and of itself.
Every second.
It has been overcast the entire race.
Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Bobby
Looks like it
and
is.
one car by itself in 5th place trying to run.
So they pitted about like lap 56 to 60 last time, so that tells me that they'll probably all be pitting between lap 110 and 120 would be their second stop. So we're not too far out from green flag stops again.
So he might be easing back up on it.
See, the cautions kind of play into the strategy game too. But it's a lot harder to go off strategy when it's green flag the whole time. If you get a caution in this era, you know, you can choose to stay out. Like, okay, you know, maybe not right now because they're towards the end of the run. Obviously, it depends on when that caution comes out.
We expect the leaders in 2 more laps.
It's like, all right, I want to take tires and give up a little bit of track position, especially with guys going a lap down. How long this opening run is, too. Wouldn't cycle as far back in the field. Ernie Irvin's in early. I wasn't expecting anybody to pit, honestly, for at least another 5 more laps. There's another tire lane there. Were they just allowed to let the tires lay outside the box like that?
lenses available to director Larry Cavallina. Most ever for a single location.
They did that with Derek Cope's pit stop earlier too. Just leave the tire laying there.
He's one of those 5 cars that could win the $1 million bonus today.
And a lap back right now. You can see the leader putting him 1 lap down right at the moment.
Happened to him the first round of pit stops also.
But it was
Hey, car cam really shows how long ago this was. No roll bars everywhere. Heads free to look or roll around. Yeah, really.
Jeff Gordon. Last year,
Taylor Klaus, thanks for tuning in. 2012 Daytona 500. I'm sure we will get to that during this offseason.
Rusty Wallace, right behind him.
We talked a little bit ago about the sun coming out now. The difference is going to warm the temperatures, and sometimes it makes a difference on the
Without getting copyrighted, every race that we do watch has to be from 2014 or older.
It'll be interesting to see who it helps and who it hurts.
When we do these streams.
Correct on that. What you have here, you have a racetrack that has a lot of races on it, and when the thing gets oil and rubber on it, it begins to get a little slick anyhow, even without the sun. When the sun gets on it, it makes all the stuff kind of greasy, and the cars really change on you.
Now a piece of tape going on the grill of Rick Mass' car there.
It seems like a lengthy pit stop.
It's running cool enough to
Oh man, if it wasn't lengthy enough as it was, now they got to push the car.
Get a little more speed.
It's amazing how much quicker the pit crews have gotten.
Chief Ray Avernham, former modified racer himself, he's crew chief and mentor to Jeff Gordon, the race leader. Are they going to pit?
Yes, they are.
TRG, Eternal Tornado, and Ethan, welcome into the stream.
12, 14, 15 of the top drivers.
Oh man, everybody's coming in.
Feeding time at the zoo, here they come.
65 miles an hour, pit road speed.
Earnhardt stay out longer again, or do you pit with these guys?
Oh, the crew is ready to go here in Jeff Gordon's pit. They come around to the right side of the car. Shane Hartzell, Mike Trower, going to work with what are known as thunder guns. The impact wrenches will spin at over 10,000 RPM to get those plug nuts off.
It's kind of cool how they show all the pit crew members. Done that with a few teams today.
Well, he just had a great stop. A little bit over 18 seconds. He has beaten Earnhardt out of pit road. Jeremy
18.6.
Earnhardt down the 18. Trouble on pit road.
What?
Jarrett spinning on.
We have another one.
Oh man. Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett around. Somebody else has a flat left front.
Bodine headed into his.
Ward Burton also got tagged to turn around and pit stall.
Jeff Burton's still sideways.
And that's going to be a costly pit stop for several drivers, those that had the misfortune of being turned around.
Especially Jeff Burton in the Roush number 99, who had to back away from pit wall once the lane was clear.
They gonna show a replay of it? I hope they do. Oh, somebody else is blowing up now.
Steve Park, Jeff Bodine.
Dang, everything's happening at once.
On pit road is second round of stops under green.
Okay, we see the driver there, Jeff Gordon leaving.
Hopefully
the
everybody
pits.
was all right.
Here comes Dale Jarrett right here coming out of the pits. And
He had to
he hits. See, Jeff Bodine was coming into the pits.
I wasn't looking at them. I was looking at Mark Martin swinging wide to miss that tire that was on pit road. There was like 2 different incidences at once there.
Jeff Burton coming into his pit stall had to spin out to miss Jarrett.
Those are 2 completely different scenarios. Oh man, that tore up the right front quite a bit. You can see the damage on Jarrett's car.
Right front badly crumpled on Dale Jarrett's 88. You see it from that in-car camera. Not all of the leaders have pitted. Joe Nemechek moves up onto the front spot after pit stops.
Trying to pull the fenders out.
Chuck Ryder owned number 30. There's Nemechek, number 42. Yesterday's winner in the Napa Auto Parts 300 for the Busch Grand National Cars. You saw that one live here on CBS. Nemechek led 106 of the 120 laps yesterday.
Henderson Speedway, quarter-mile track. Handful of NASCAR drivers there. Elliott, Newman, Stewart, Ken Schrader. Pretty cool.
Back onto pit road since we are still under the green flag. This second stop will be
sounds familiar. Sounds like a track I've heard of before. Yeah, there's a lot of damage. I'm surprised he made it all the way back around. It looked like he had quite a big tire run. Well, that's definitely taking Dale Jarrett out of a good finish.
Let's show you again what happened on pit road.
I didn't think he had that much damage. I knew he had quite a bit. I didn't think he had that much. Mark Martin was trying to come out of his pits, and he tried to go wide to miss him. There was already a car there.
He had to move outside.
And then completely separate to that, well, there was another car leaving the pits as Jeff Burton was coming in, and Burton got spun. That's a lot of. That's the most torn up we've seen a car all day.
Lots of damage on the right front as you
Consider there hasn't been any cautions.
They got a hacksaw out and they're whacking away
That's a
at that
tough
sheet
break
metal.
for
They're
Jared.
gonna pull a big chunk of that metal away from the car. They've already changed
In a
the
season-long
right
points
front tire.
format, that is that's costly. First race of the year for sure.
To keep that fender from flapping too much.
Especially in a race with no cautions too. He's gonna finish towards the very bottom of the leaderboard.
He smelled smoke, rubber smoke, inside the car. They radio back and forth between him and crew chief Ray Evernham. They believe what he smells is from somewhere else, but not from inside his car. They're not really sure what it is or where it even comes from.
Jeff Gordon says he smells tire smoke.
Now in second
And then
on Kenny Irwin Jr., the rookie. And moving past on the inside.
how do you tell your driver, oh no, that's not coming from your car? Like, it's like, Jeff's like, are you sure? Because I smell something.
You're watching from Irwin as the leaders go on past.
How are you supposed to tell a guy that he's not smelling correctly? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Look at this. They're running 180 miles an hour off the corner. They're turning about 6,500 down the straightaway. With restrictor plate motors, you try not to power over 7,000 with them because you don't get enough air and fuel in the car to make it really run over 7,000 RPM. So you just put a gear in there.
In-car telemetry provided by First Plus Financial today. Pit stops continue.
So there should be one more set of pit stops then,
Felix Sabates
unless we get a caution.
leads the Daytona 500. First time he's led this race in 4 starts.
I mean, honestly, I have no clue if
American race, we're just past halfway. The Daytona 500, where a moment's miscue can dash your hopes of winning $1 million.
I didn't realize Chad Little barely missed that other car trying to make his way into his box.
115 laps completed, 4 cars in that tight lead draft. Jeff Gordon, last year's champion, followed by Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt, who've tried to combine 36 years.
Favorite NASCAR season?
And Jeremy Mayfield, the young driver from Kentucky.
Man, I don't even know.
Watching Darrell Waltrip and thinking, hoping someday he'd have a chance to run this race. And with this team and their new partnership with Rusty Wallace's Penske team, Mayfield is a
I'm honestly not sure.
today.
Honestly,
See what a gap you had there between the first 4 and Bobby Labonte here running right by himself. He needs some help.
just as a fan, like traveling to a lot of different
Now
races,
joining up, they may could run him down, but that's a big deficit to try to run down.
Bobby Labonte, the pole sitter, Skinner, last year's pole
it's
sitter.
been really fun the last couple of years. Honestly, what has happened the last couple of years between having the YouTube channel and getting to travel to a lot of different NASCAR tracks for races as they happen, that has probably been more fun
He's wanting to stay in line right now and try to
than what I had just watching on TV
right
growing
now,
up.
wonder if they don't do
From an
something.
atmospheric
So they
standpoint.
have to try to stay in line and run that front boot back down.
So it's really tough for me to answer that question. Honestly, I don't think I can really give you guys an answer to that question.
There's what just 3 seconds looks like.
Because I've had a different type of enjoyment with it now versus what I did back then. It's very uncomparable, really.
For those cars up front there.
Mark Martin moves to the inside as Irwin, 1 lap behind, pulls over, lets the lead lap cars through.
The racing itself in the 01 500 was one of the best from the racing standpoint. It'll be forever marred by the ending. Slow stop for Derek Cope. He was having a great day too until that contact with Jeff Burton.
Remember, we took a look at the right front tire of Jeff Gordon's car after the first pit stop, and the tire temperature went increased across the tire. This time, it's even all the way across. That's an indicator that that push that he had in the front of the car is now gone because he's running up front in clean air.
Jeff Gordon, your leader, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt.
A lot more spread apart than what it was after the first pit
And
stops.
here with Dale Earnhardt. Out of turn number 4. down the front straightaway.
After the first stop, it seemed like the entire field was pretty much together, but now it's just 4 cars.
Finisher, who started in the last row and came up to third. Ricky Craven, the new
favorite race on the channel?
today, running on the lead lap in 19th position.
Like for the live commentary, or
Telemetry on board.
or since having the channel?
You can see 180 miles an hour going down in the corner there, 6,500 RPM. That's John.
To be a little
Andretti
more
just in front of
specific.
them there nose to tail coming down.
Question.
Close to trials along
Yeah,
the
Dale
road.
Jarrett's back at 42nd right now.
Track apron was Ricky Rudd, headed for the
For that lengthy stop trying to work on the right front fender of his car.
RPMs for these restrictor plate engines, when they are unrestricted, as they'll be next week at Rockingham, North Carolina, they turn those things about 8,500, sometimes to 9,000 RPMs.
The Daytona 500 is annually a sellout, but there are still seats available at Rockingham, North Carolina on the 1 Mile Speedway for next Sunday's second race in the Winston Cup Tour. Bill Elliott leading a pack of cars.
Not anymore.
John Andretti for Richard Petty this season with
I noticed he had a big move. I wasn't sure if he was going for it or not.
who was Petty's
I'm not sure where they're at position-wise to try to close in on whoever's in front of
in
him.
the off-season in NASCAR racing. Bill Elliott's picked up
Looks like a pie plate. Sure does.
You don't think he went through the drive-thru on one of those pits?
No. Don't go there.
Now, the leaders are able to get away from that second pack, Ned, because they have picked up the draft of these cars about to be lapped.
We saw them here yesterday in the 300-miler. Some cars moved away. And
Alright, so the only cars that are actually battling for the lead in this pack would be Gordon, Wallace. Gordon had to check up. He almost got in the back of the 75, and then Rusty checked up because Gordon checked up. Earnhardt got by him. So Earnhardt, Gordon, Wallace, Mayfield are the only 4 actually battling for position right now. Oh my gosh. Mayfield crowded Rusty. Oh, they're not single file anymore. Earnhardt and Gordon side. I guarantee you that crowd was probably going nuts right now with Earnhardt and Gordon side by side for the lead. The Daytona 500. Oh, they went with Earnhardt. They didn't go with Gordon. Gordon hung out to dry. Oh, on the video game side, jeez. Oh man, that's
Jeff Gordon hanging tough on the inside, trying to
that's
get
tough.
back up in line.
Oh.
And you said they were picking friends.
Honestly, the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode with the Daytona 500, I think, is probably up there.
And up front,
That's got to be up there.
who have tried a combined total of 30.
That, the Xfinity Series championship finale on NASCAR Heat 5 was at Talladega with our championship 4 race. That was pretty intense, too. Those are probably my 2 favorite.
Jeff Gordon, who has led much of this race. Back to port. There, that blue car is Joe Nemechek.
Oh, what is that on the track? That's debris of some sort. What was that? Was that a rodent? Did you guys see that black thing move up on the track? That gotta be a caution.
we talked about those cars a moment ago. Once they get the sniff of that road.
I don't know if that was an animal or if it was debris. It went from nowhere to just like in the middle of the racetrack. One of the aerial cams drop.
In Jeff Gordon's pit.
I agree with you. Yeah, they need to bring Rockingham back.
Push developing in the 24 car now with Jeff Gordon. They'll keep an eye on it and see if they can't get
Fun
it.
racetrack.
Next time in, they're going to have to stay out as long as they can to keep him in the lead pack.
You can see Jeff Gordon right on the white line there. He seems to be...
down low on the back stretch.
And you've got Ward Burton slow in the back straightaway.
That guy's throwing it all over. He's going into 3 right now.
Spotters and crew chiefs talking with their drivers. And there is Ward Burton, who has cut down a tire and will make it back around to pit road.
You could hear Jeff telling Ray Evernham there's stuff all over.
Yeah, tire down to Ward Burton's car.
And caution is out. For the first time
First
today,
caution of the race.
the yellow flag waves over the Daytona 500.
They probably should have thrown the caution a little sooner.
5 laps of green flag racing now.
He was very, very slow on the bottom of the track.
continues.
Wait, whizzing around him at speed.
And a word from your
I mean, they shouldn't have thrown the yellow just because he was getting off of turn 4 at that time. They should have thrown it like way sooner than they did. They should have thrown it right away, or not thrown it at all at that point.
The best-selling American trucks are built
I mean, the safest thing to do was throw the caution right away.
of the 1998 U.S. Olympic team.
For the leaders got there.
More than 1,800 AutoZone stores across America.
First caution of the race with less than 80 to
We
go.
are under caution for tire debris from Ward Burton, and in the run on.
Oh, you know what? That might have been that black.
Wallace got out first, and
I wonder if
Jack Roush
maybe the carcass of the tire was that black thing I saw in the track.
And behind the wall.
Oh, Mark Martin's got an issue?
Well, I'm not sure what it is yet, Mike, but we're going to tell you real soon. Apparently, it's a drive shaft we've just picked up on the radio. We're on our way there. We'll bring you the report in a moment.
Mark.
Dale Jarrett's crew is working hard on that right front fender as Rusty Wallace's crew, led by Robin Pemberton, led the race off pit road. We'll be right back.
Problems for Mark Martin.
This CBS Sports race summary is sponsored by Brewery Fresh Budweiser.
I think Mike Joy will retire from NASCAR on Fox after the next season. No, I don't think so. I think he'll at least go through the end of the TV deal.
7 different leaders, lead changes.
Maybe after 2024, but I think he'll definitely be in the booth 23, 24. But when the next TV deal comes to fruition, if Fox is still there or not, that might be, because he's probably in contract through 2024, but he probably doesn't have a contract for the following season because we don't even know what races Fox is going to be covering yet. If they're going to be covering NASCAR at all by the time 25 comes around. Dang. Yeah, Rusty had some wild crashes on the super speedways.
His luck in this 500 has not been good. This is his 16th attempt to win the 500.
Gonna see some pit stops.
Crashes in this race.
First caution of the race, so it's going to be interesting to see what these guys are going to do in the restart. The one to go. Put it out, yeah.
Let's go to Dick Berger.
Tommy H, thanks for tuning in.
Just changed. He had been watching it on the racetrack. Now he's looking through his windshield at the cars as they go by. What happened to this thing?
Well, we broke a gear trying to get out of the pits there. Just a bad luck thing. I mean, nothing we did. It just happens once every 10 years or something like that. Man, we had a good run going. I thought we were giving Valvoline, Cummins, and Bugles, Bosch, Ford, Eagle One, all these guys something to cheer for. I don't know if we had a shot to win, but we had a top 5 car. And the guys, everybody pulled together and worked real hard to put this thing together. And this is just a real disappointing way to have it turn out.
And Mark Martin is yet another of those veterans who has never won the Daytona 500. He'll have to wait till next year.
Mark Martin has always looked old.
Here in 1995. He's been trying for a decade and a half to win this race. Getting set for
he was probably only like in his 30s there, but he looked like he was
Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon. Let's see how the
like
rookies,
50.
6 of them in this race,
which is strange though because he's always been in good shape.
There he is, Jerry Nadeau,
good physical shape. His skin just doesn't age well. He just needs to use more moisturizer, that's all.
Andy Hillenberg, 32nd.
I don't think Mark Martin ever moisturized his face. He's in the shower.
In this race. So Nadeau leading what is expected to be one of the finest.
How'd you break a gear on pit road? I don't know. Freak thing there, I guess. William Windex, thanks for tuning in.
In the rookies chase this year.
Ralph?
Well, there's a problem with the front air dam on Jeff Gordon's car, and that's why he has the big push.
Just the rule of racing to the yellow comes out. It was flooded in the video games, but I can understand why they don't allow that now. That's honestly a stupid rule looking back on it. Oh man, it's going to be confusing. Got all the lap cars on the inside of the lead lap cars. There's a lot of cars to lap down. I'm surprised. I didn't realize that many cars got lapped. Like half the field's a lap down. They're going to be racing pretty hard to try to get their lap back in case there's another caution. Especially if they have to race back to the line.
Earnhardt behind him and Gordon nestled up against Earnhardt's bumper.
Rusty Wallace is in a bad spot right now. You see all the, what they're talking about right on that corner right there is bent back just a little bit on Jeff Gordon's car. That's what they're talking about being bent in. It don't look like much, but at 200 miles an hour, that's a lot of lift on the front of the car.
And look at the distance Earnhardt has pulled on Gordon in a lap.
Yeah, they used to race back to the line in 2003. It's the last year they did that.
For Greg Sachs with the hood up.
A lot of lap cars are fading. Unless they were able to get up into the outside lane, it's tough to tell exactly.
Rusty Wallace is in a spot right now.
It's amazing how many more seats they have on the front stretch grandstands now versus here, too. Because my seats or the seat I sat in for the 500 last year wasn't even there at this time. Oh, Gordon's going low. I think he waited too long, though. Does he have enough help? Oh, man, he's pushing him. Mike Skinner just shoved Earnhardt. I mean, it worked. Earnhardt held on to it. He's clear by a mile. I would imagine he's going to hope that... I don't think he wants to pull to the bottom until the 31 can get back to him, but he's going to pull there if Skinner can't get to Earnhardt before. Now Skinner should move down. Earnhardt's going to move with him. Oh, he's not clear yet.
Well, as we watch the leaders, Mike, they're going to have to make one more pit stop before this thing is all done and over with. There's going to be a lot more racing to come before the 500 is settled.
Jimmy Spencer holding up Jeff Gordon. Michael Waltrip going 3 wide to the bottom again.
That's what they've done to Jeff Gordon. They've moved him back in the pack.
That's all they have to do is just think he's wounded a little bit. They're really on him now.
Gordon inside Jeremy Mayfield, number 12, and up against Jimmy Spencer. The man they called Mr. Excitement in the modified race.
Yeah, Skinner's clear now. They should move down to the inside again.
Green car, Bobby Labonte, been fast all day, high-siding around a lot of this traffic right now.
Is that Derek Cope that made a move up high? I don't think he's on the lead lap. He had a lengthy stop earlier.
2 of the 5 drivers that have the chance for the $1 million bonus, Ernie Irvin and Kenny Schrader, are up in the top 5.
Man, Gordon really fell back on that restart.
Schrader 33.
He was in 3rd, and now he's just free-falling. He's kind of stuck on the bottom. There's more cars on the top on the straightaways. No, Daytona doesn't have the backstretch grandstands. They have more on the front stretch now, but all the backstretch seating's gone. I think they expanded when they tore down the backstretch seats. They had another level pretty much all the way around the front stretch. 400 level. It doesn't even look like they have the 300 level here either. It looks like it's just the 100 and 200 unless you're like right at the start-finish line. Then it goes all the way up to the 400.
Driving with a cracked sternum from a hard crash into the turn 1 wall in Thursday's qualifying race. The Schrader said,
wow, I didn't realize Schrader was that hurt from that run. Cracked sternum, and he's still racing.
That's a career for a lot of people. He's going for it all right now.
It's the first race of the season, too. He was dealing with that for weeks. Tough guy.
You can see how much air pressure is off those cars. It actually moved the camera then.
Allison Liaro, 16, thanks for tuning in.
2 by 2.
No, yeah, they took down the grandstands back straight.
Into turn 1. At 190 miles.
Very few tracks they still actually have grandstands on the backstretch. I know Darlington, they have some seating back there still. Yeah, obviously Bristol.
Richard Childress cars first and second.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tracks that still do.
That's a hard thing to overcome when you have a teammate up under you like that. Somebody has to really get with somebody and change.
And even with Darlington, it's not much. Unless they tore him down before this season. I was there in the Southern 500 2020. It might not be there anymore.
The flak jacket was a stroke of genius, helping to dampen some of the vibrations that would come up and ordinarily cause him some discomfort. He said he's feeling great.
Whoa. That's Steve Park.
Yep.
Park about wedged the 12 into the wall. Schrader was tough. I mean, they were pretty much all tough back in this era. They can still be tough now. These guys were a different breed back then.
He's dropping back as we speak.
I mean, the big thing is, though, now is because if they're not medically cleared, like at this time, they didn't see doctors. That was a big thing. Because if they saw a doctor, the doctor would tell them not to get in the car. But now, you have to see medical personnel because it's mandated that you have to go to the infield care center after a crash. I don't think you had to at this time, so that's probably another reason why he was allowed to still race.
This is truly
So I wouldn't fault the drivers too much for, you know, not trying to fight through it now, because I think if they had the choice, they still probably would. But the problem is they're kind of taking the choice out of that for the driver's safety. Not just the driver of their car, but the driver of other cars, too. You're putting everybody at risk.
500 miles. Imagine how he must feel right now. But there's no pain for Schrader. It's like Earnhardt coming back after that terrible crash at Talladega and sitting on the pole at Sears Point, California. These people are special.
Gotta wonder what
65 to go. Ernie Irvin's back up there again. Oh, wow, Gordon fought his way back up quick, too. About sixth. He wasn't sure what lane he wanted to pick. Gordon and Earnhardt have led about the same amount of laps.
Ernie Irvin told me last night, no one driver could win this race by himself. You had to have help and the draft.
First time in a while the entire pack's been up there. They've been side by side ever since the restart, really. They doubled up pretty quickly. They're still side by side through the commercial.
Mike Skinner had vaulted to the lead. Ken Schrader came up with him. Dale Earnhardt dropped to the low groove behind Skinner. And as they went into turn number 3, Earnhardt went under his teammate. Schrader went up high around him. Skinner got kicked back to third. Earnhardt's back in the lead. Schrader's second.
You know what that's called? One winner.
Cracked Sternum and Kenny Schrader still in second.
You have to go when you have the chance.
That's Ernie Irvin down on the inside.
What was Ernie doing down there? Was he trying to block?
Rusty Wallace.
That had to have broken the momentum of the inside lane. Looked like he was trying to break the draft, but there was pushing going on behind him, so they didn't stay as well organized. That probably wasn't a good move for Ernie Irvin.
Earnhardt and Schrader.
Oh, Schrader to the outside. Earnhardt squeezing him.
I hate to say this, but when you get them bunched up like this, anything can happen.
Earnhardt to
They're side drafting the heck out of each other.
And here comes Ernie Irvin with him.
Ernie Irvin. That's a brand new ride for him, but it is working like Ernie Irvin's cars always do. Has something to do with the driver, I guess.
Of the first 9 drivers right now.
Chad Little ran the T-Bird when his teammates ran the Taurus. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I noticed that there was a difference, but that is kind of strange that, like, you would have a teammate at the same team that would be running a different one. A different car, really.
And that would mean a total payday of $2 million. Counting manufacturers, contingency, television money, and then R.J. Reynolds' bonus.
And for the Mark Martin fans, he is back on the racetrack now. They did get his car repaired, but he is many laps down like this.
What happened to that single file draft of lead cars we had a while ago?
Well, all you have to do is look at the laps left in this race. Everybody now, they're pulling the plugs on these things. They know they have to go.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Richard Childress is watching our television broadcast, and he's watching his 2 cars, the 3 and 31, jockey back and forth. What do you make of this, Richard?
Well, you know, he was sitting there and you pushing. They had a run. He had
As many times as Earnhardt failed to win this race and Mike Skinner was winning a bunch of the dual races prior to this, I almost wonder in the back of his head if Richard thought that Skinner was going to win a 500 before Earnhardt. At the rate it was going, I don't think that was like a very wild thing to really think.
Well, you know, a car owner is kind of like 2 kids. Who do you want to give a piece of candy to? But, you know, my heart's got to be with Dale Earnhardt, but we all owe it to Lowe's and everybody with Mike Skinner. If he's got a chance to win, he's got to try to win.
Well, there's a diplomatic answer for you, Mike.
It certainly is. From the owner of a 2-car team. Aflac trivia question. Who has started the most Daytona 500s before winning the great race?
Run the older bodies for 5 years after they bailed out. That's why the small Xfinity teams ran Dodge. Yeah, I don't know what the ruling is there, but that makes sense.
This is not trivia here. This is the real thing. 3 wide at 200 miles an hour through the tri-oval. And that is a turn there.
It is a turn, and Dick Trickle's in the middle.
They're still 3 wide. You're with John Andretti. The Pepsi 400 winner here in July. A race that will show for the first time ever at night.
Oh, okay, so
July 4th here on CBS.
there you go. So they didn't have lights at this time at Daytona, but for the 98 summer race, that was the first time they had lights.
The other night, it was absolutely beautiful.
Ernie's going to try to make a move on him if he gets a run. I mean, he's been the most aggressive driver all day.
Expect a packed house here in Daytona for the first ever Pepsi 400 run at night.
If only we had high definition back in this year to really get a good look at like how a lot of these cars would have popped.
56 laps to go, Ralph.
I only said that because I really like that Skittles paint scheme.
They only got 2 days off at the end of the season, Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day. Crew Chief Robin Pemberton, he gets 3 weeks off a year. He's only had 5 days off in all of 1997. They built over 7 Taurus chassis leading up to the Daytona 500. That great body work has gotten Rusty into the thick of this year's Daytona 500.
Now that inside lane is moving forward, Ralph, and the reason is Mark Martin, the lapped car up ahead. Earnhardt could sniff out a draft off that white and blue machine of Martin.
Kyle Busch going to be the next Earnhardt. I would have said he was already there before he went to Childress, but that just kind of further backs it. Well, Mark Martin's back in the race, but he's many laps down. He's going to stall out the inside. Unless they try to go up the middle with him. I don't know how much room Mark's getting out. Oh, no, I don't think he's out of the gas. Oh, my gosh. Jeff Gordon got squeezed big time there. That might break the pack up a little bit. We'll see. They're side by side now. Top four start to get away. They all got held up by Martin.
Inside of Mike Skinner, number 23 Spencer, number 9 Lake Speed, number 90 Dick Trickle. And Mark Martin, 1 lap down.
It's been a clean race. Kind of like the 06 race was. Well, this one's even cleaner than that. But the 06 race we watched last week didn't have a big one. I don't even know if this one did. Oh. Hope they did.
At the start-finish line. That's Dale Earnhardt's team communicating with their driver.
Getting racy back there.
53 laps to run. From this point in the race on, Dale Earnhardt's led this lap, lap 148, and every other lap in the
yeah, it is pretty crazy. Jarrett's only 3 laps down. It felt like he was on pit road longer than that. Unfortunately, though, because there's still a lot of cars in the race, he's going to finish well inside the top 30.
On the move right now, Jeremy Mayfield.
Single file. The lead pack comes down to the start-finish line. Earnhardt, Irvin, right behind.
Just over 50 laps left.
He moved out of Robert Yates Ford at the end of last season. That's now driven by rookie Kenny Irwin Jr. Jeremy Mayfield is 3rd. Rusty Wallace 4th. Teammates: Ken Schrader 5th. Jeff Gordon in 6th. Mike Skinner, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Labonte, John Andretti, the top 10. We'll be right back.
Schrader back to 5th. And now instead of 4, it's about a 6, 7 car, 7 cars in the lead pack. There's a few more that were just behind them trying to catch up too. It didn't look like they were quite in the draft yet. They don't have as many cars numbers wise. Oh! Ouch! That's a hard. There's 2 hard hits there. Wow. Oh, that was this weekend? Okay, I thought that was right now. I was confused. No wonder he broke his sternum. Jeez. I was caught off guard. I wasn't paying attention to Mike Joy talking. I wasn't really listening to him. I thought that just happened. Oh, Winter Olympics coming up next.
Olympic Winter Games in Japan.
I know CBS used to cover the Olympics.
Raiders going backwards. He's starting to push in the center part of the corner. Gordon's coming forward. Yeah.
They had lots of fun with
Gordon
it.
is on the
Why
inside
making
Kenny Schrader's 33. And Schrader
making fun of Larry?
may drop to the tail of his lead draft as Mike Skinner goes past as well.
I was a little confused by that wreck I saw for Kenny Schrader. I mean, that's a massive. I'm surprised he wasn't. I mean, that to go head on into the wall. I mean, that was almost how Dale wrecked in 01, really.
One pit stop will remain. These cars get about 5 miles per gallon.
He wasn't the only one, too. There was somebody else that hit head-on almost the same as him.
22 gallons of fuel.
Couldn't tell who it was, though.
Mike, I think Jeff Gordon maybe changed his driving style.
Yeah, they're in the window to make it on one more stop.
At the bottom of the racetrack again, he was pushing out a little bit, getting into turn one.
Interested to see who pits first.
Looks to be working quite well. He's moving back up on the lead cars now.
These are the two leaders. You're just perched on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet, looking back there at Ernie Irvin, Jeremy Mayfield, the
Train fan, welcome into the stream.
teammate Rusty Wallace, and Jeff Gordon.
He was thinking about making a move. Look at Mike Skinner. He's looking.
Yeah, Skinner doesn't have any help behind him, though, so even though he's pulling out, I think he's just trying to get somebody to go with him in front of him, specifically Gordon. Oh, he does have one car back there now. Is that Schrader? Yeah.
Single file, the first 7 cars.
I mean, Schrader would have started pretty deep in the field considering he was in a backup car then, too.
Right in the middle of that group, Jeremy Mayfield. 5th start in this race. Looking for his first top 5 finish. A lot of jostling back in the pack and a lot of drivers that won't give up on their chance to win the fight.
Looks like there's 18 cars on the lead lap. I haven't really looked at it till just now.
And it looks like that second group, they look
It's only 18 on the lead lap after that first caution.
Jimmy Spencer's pulling that second group right on up
It was,
there.
I can't remember exactly what lap. It's like lap 120 something. A little less than 80 to go.
They're coming like a storm right now.
Got 45 laps left right now.
It's like we run far enough and got far enough to go. And about that rate, Andy, I don't know.
What McReynolds is saying, they may get 4 tires on this last pit stop. When he says, Andy, I don't know, it means he hasn't talked to Andy Petrie, who owns Ken Schrader's car. Now, not only can we listen in on these teams, a lot of fans in the stands have scanners. They can listen to all of that team communication. Don't know of any other sport where you can do that. As the event unfolds, find out all the strategy firsthand, but you can do it in NASCAR racing. There's Buddy Baker's record for the race, 177.6.
Oh, man, they're close to that record.
Right on that record pace today.
I mean, we know that they didn't make it, but I mean, with 45 to go, they were pretty close to it.
In the front of Ernie Irvin's car as he comes through the corner there. That front part of that
But depending on how much time they would have lost during green flag stops and with another caution. That's crazy. They had one caution and it dropped them below
The Pontiacs are, because of the rules, are
the
able
fastest
to run
race
over
ever
the balance of the Fords and the Chevrolets.
in the 500.
Bobby Labonte currently running.
Santiago Kid, thanks for tuning in. No, Johnson wasn't a rookie until 2002. I don't even think anybody's in the 48 car. I don't think. I mean, obviously the 48 car now is a Hendrick car. I don't think anybody drove the number 48 at this time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Contending for the win right now, Jeremy Mayfield from Owensboro, Kentucky. That number 12 moves up to second place.
team cars working together. Jeremy Mayfield's getting a great.
I mean, that was pretty easy. The bottom opened up.
Wallace's teammate right behind him.
A couple cars went high.
Went right by Ernie Irvin, took over second.
Yeah, Ernie Irvin tried. I told you guys, Ernie Irvin was going to try to make a pass for the lead at some point when he was up at second. That second group looks like they're slowly catching the first group too. Slowly.
Mayfield number 12, Wallace number 2.
They'll get there eventually. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they do or not. I mean, at some point they are. I don't know if it's going to be under green or under a caution. Hopefully they make it through the pit stops, or made it, I guess, through the pit stops this time around, because they had a couple different issues last time they were making green flag stops.
Continuing the battle further back, Joe Nemechek with the 4, Bobby Hamilton.
I mean, I already know who won personally.
Yellow car. 99, Jeff Burton, accident damage. And number 16, Ted Musgrave, the blue and yellow car. Just
only cars in 98 for Hendrick were the 24 and the 5.
And Mike Wallace in that white and yellow.
They didn't have the 25 at the time.
159
I don't think
laps
they did.
complete this time by. Dale Earnhardt leads it. CBS Sports coverage will
They
continue.
had the 25 before, and then they ended up having it again later, but I don't, yeah, you might be right. I don't think anybody was in it in 98.
10, If you guys can get
162
Ricky Craven's in the 50. Is that a Hendrick
Dale
entry?
Earnhardt leading Jeremy
Craven
McNeil
was
and his
with
teammate,
Hendrick for
Rusty Wallace.
around this time.
Larry McReynolds and Ray Evernham.
Might have been a little
McReynolds,
before
crew
this.
chief for Earnhardt. McReynolds won this race with Davey Allison. Ray Evernham won it last year with Jeff Gordon. Talking race strategy.
Who owns the 50 car? Because it's still Bud sponsorship too.
And what to do on that final pit stop.
And the Bud
Do you just
sponsorship
put
was on the
fuel in? Do you take
25.
2 tires? Do you take 4 tires?
I wouldn't be surprised to see a splash and go this close to the end.
For somebody, or maybe all of them.
Jeff Burton's
Jeff
in.
Burton has come back to pit road.
He had damage earlier from the
scanner
last
as they may
pit
have
stops.
lost an engine on Burton's number 99.
Engine failure. Man, that's 2 Roush cars that have had mechanical failures in this race. First Mark Martin and now Jeff Burton. Martin's back in it, but he's many laps down because he pulled into the garage. Oh, Steve Park's out now too. Man, everybody's dropping out.
As fast as you can.
Got a lot of mechanical failures all of a sudden.
Larry McReynolds told Ray Evernham he would be back in about lap 170, which is just about 7
I didn't realize Ricky Rudd was out of the race. When did Ricky
We
Rudd
have also seen
pull behind the
members of
garage?
Kenny Schrader's team down
He's
here.
in 42nd. I just happened to see it on the leaderboard. He's out. I haven't seen him the whole race, but
There are no deals. We're just discussing.
little surprising.
How many tires are you going to take when you pit in? When will you pit?
We don't know what we're going to do yet. We're discussing things.
That's coy.
Well, Robin Pemberton is the crew chief for the 3rd place car of Rusty Wallace. That was Kevin Hamlin on the left, Mike Skinner's crew chief, talking with the car that is also owned by Richard Childress.
Wally Dahlback was in the 25. Okay, and I saw he failed to make the race. He was one of the drivers that failed to make it on the list they showed before the race started.
Well, the drama continues to build.
I don't think that was a Hendrick entry, though. I don't think.
Jimmy Spencer and a few other cars are moving in on this lead draft. It may be a 15-car shootout once they make their pit stops because they're really.
R6, welcome into the stream. 48 came from 2 times 24. Gordon was part owner, yeah.
Car owner Butch Mock, and he is presently posted 29th. Mast is 3 laps down. He didn't make the race last year, and he said that took 10 years off his life. He says, I know when I die of natural causes, if it hadn't been for missing that race, I'd have lived another 10 years.
Well, it is tough to miss a race. There's no doubt about it. He was so proud to be able to get in this race this year. Had to race his way into it on Thursday.
Pole sitter for the first Brickyard 400. Dale Earnhardt has won 30 races at Daytona, counting the International Race of Champions.
Wow.
7 wins in the Saturday 300 Grand National Race. Never on Sunday.
That's crazy. 30 wins at Daytona between Cup, well, over that, considering he won a few more yet, but between Cup, Busch, IROC,
Dick Berggren.
Well, subject to change.
exhibition races.
Dale Earnhardt on lap 165. We're coming
Crazy.
in 15 laps. They can go almost all the way to the end. That's 200 laps on the fuel.
Yeah,
that they've
12 was
got,
Penske.
But at least right now, the strategy is come in before them.
I was the 12th car.
Last year, Earnhardt in contention to win. Flipped over with 11 laps to go. And there's a Ford crew chief and a Chevy crew chief having a conversation.
On the left is Robin Pemberton, crew chief for Rusty Wallace.
Now, neither one of their drivers have won this race in years of trying. 2 years ago, Earnhardt started on the pole, finished a close second. 3 years ago, settled for second. 4 years ago.
Well, I don't think Mike Skinner had too many chances at him before 98. Just a couple tries.
6 years ago, 7 years ago, limped home as the race ended under caution. And I could go
Amazing
on
how
and
quickly
on
that
for 19
pack got
years
separated
of
again. It looked like the second group was catching them about 10 laps ago or so, and then they ended up not catching them. No, I like how nobody has wanted to pit. That window's been open to make it on fuel to the end of the race for about 15 laps now. Nobody is pushed it.
And if they get a report that there are showers in that area, then that's going to make a difference in these pit stops. They'll go as long as they possibly can. Maybe some of them will go too long.
Sounds like the race and a little bit of weather too. That might be some of it, I guess.
In the final laps, when the pit crew left one lug nut off during the final stop, and he had to come back to pit road, dropping a lap off the pace. Earnhardt has lost this race every which way you can, and usually in the closing laps. Jeff Gordon aiming to be the spoiler in Earnhardt's party or Wallace's celebration.
I mean, just to win that many times at one track is ridiculous.
Behind Earnhardt, Jeremy Mayfield, and Rusty Wallace. 31 laps to go next time by.
That's dangerous to go with the commercial right now. They're probably going to be right in the middle of green flag stops when they come back, aren't they? No? Okay. Thought we were going to miss some pit stops. These guys are going quite a ways, though.
Struggling to finally win this 500. Earlier this week, he told the press, everyone saw the look in John Elway's eyes. Look in mine. He's out in front, but there are 2 Fords deployed directly behind him. And before this is over, you can be sure they're going to be on the attack. Mayfield and Wallace working together. Let's go back to the call and Mike Joy.
Ken, 28 laps to go. 8 times in 19 years, Dale Earnhardt has been in this position at this juncture of the race.
29 laps left.
4 times.
Oh!
1 car, 2 cars.
First crash. Not on pit road. Well, that'll mean that everybody's got pit under caution then.
And Andretti swerves around as they get down to the grass, and we are under caution.
So that takes all that pit strategy away because they'll be able to make their pit stops.
That Jasper paint scheme.
All that wheeling and dealing.
Caution is out.
Chilly day.
I was gonna say it looks cold, and then you see one guy in shorts, like everybody's bundled up. One guy in shorts, waving his fist in the air.
73 laps are completed. Beginning lap 1.
Like that guy doesn't care. He's probably from up north. He's probably like, oh, it's like summer down here. It's probably like 60 degrees, but everybody's bundled up.
Earnhardt, Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, and Ernie Irvan.
Probably like it's 20 with a couple inches of snow on the ground back where I live.
Craven, the top 10. Then Kyle Petty, Michael Walton,
Dark Crypto, welcome into the stream.
Chad Little, Bobby Hamilton, and Lake Speed. 17 cars on the lead lap when they form up for the restart.
17 on the lead lap.
Pit stops.
I think that was because Steve Park pulled off
turn 2.
Middle of the green flag run. Oh.
You can see that the 43 car of Andretti came awfully fast on the 77 car.
I was gonna say it.
Robert Presley, they got together and spin down.
It looked like Andretti maybe washed up the track into Presley.
Look again. Andretti was on the lead lap.
I'm gonna say that that's probably what happened.
Presley, and both of them spin to the inside of the race.
I don't know where they were running. I don't even know if they were on the lead lap or not, honestly.
Inside John Andretti's car.
They both kept it off the wall on the inside of the track, but quite a bit of damage making contact with each other. Wow, he came really close to that wall, too.
Quickly gets to those gears.
And then he almost hit Presley, who was still spinning, too. By the time he got it corrected, was trying to drive around him.
I'm not in that windshield behind that steering wheel anymore.
That's one thing when they used to race back to the line, that you had to like get on it to try not to lose as much track position as possible too. Like shoot, they're still at full speed. I gotta get going. Can't sit here and wait.
Earnhardt coming down pit road for what will be.
Didn't matter if he had a tire down or not.
Well. The plan: take 2 tires. That's what Rusty Waller's plan is.
Oh, 2 tires for Earnhardt.
Rusty Wallace is in.
2 for Rusty.
Said to his gas guys, get 1 can in and don't worry about
bold strat, going for track position only.
He's away with Mayfield.
Earnhardt has the quick pit stop. It'll be Earnhardt.
Oh, and he's got his teammate behind him too. That couldn't have worked out any more perfect to have Skinner come out second. That was a fast stop by the 31 team. I think he was in 5th or 6th when they came in. He ended up jumping up 4 or 5 spots. Might have been because some other guys took 4 though also.
You got to remember something else.
I'd imagine that he probably took 2 with Earnhardt taking 2.
That's 2 teams right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got
RCR
versus Penske.
Get a good hold.
Gordon
25 laps
fifth.
to go next time by.
Earnhardt made a great pit stop, but you got to hand it to those guys in the 31. They were back in 5th place when they came in. Now they're in 2nd place. They really made a great pit stop.
Now, even leaving the pits, they're subject to that 65-mile-an-hour speed limit. So it's who gets their job done first and who gets up, out, and into the lane. Bill?
Robin Pemberton very unhappy with that pit stop. I asked him, not enough fuel in the car? He said, no, too much. He thinks they took too much time. They wanted to get out before.
As a huge Mayfield fan, I was sitting at
They
home.
came out in 4th place.
Or wasn't sitting. No, yeah, because he was in contempt. Yeah, for sure.
You know, they actually time how long it takes.
That was like me at the end of the 500 this year with Blaney.
When it's too long.
Dark clouds on the western horizon.
Yeah, they've been talking about the threat of weather since the start of the race.
25 laps left to
They haven't
run.
had a delay or anything, though, so that's good.
This CBS Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Texaco, a world of energy.
As we get down to the last 25 laps at 1.
Well, is this going to be the final restart? I have no clue.
Complete. 8 different leaders. Lead changes 13 times. The average speed just under Baker's record from 1980 at 176.1. A couple of cautions out here, and the cars and drivers that now are saying...
Quick cleanup on the cautions, though, to have only 6 laps of yellow with 2 cautions. Ignition issue with Rudd. I was wondering what happened to Ricky Rudd. They didn't really show him pull off.
Field is getting set on a restart, and let's rejoin Mike Joy.
Packers down there. Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt.
I don't even think the game started yet, has it?
Earnhardt's pit stop. A key pit stop
They
to
start a couple
maintain
minutes.
that lead track
8:15,
position. Watch
I
that
think.
black car in the middle of the screen jump out ahead of those 2 white Fords, and Mike Skinner, the blue and yellow.
I mean, it looked like Mike Skinner sped by. I mean, it kind of looked like Earnhardt and Skinner both gassed it there. Tried to get by the cars that were coming out of the pits underneath them.
Taco Landon, Brian Engelhardt.
I don't know how the pit road times were judged, though, at this time period. Like, did they must not have had, like, as many loops, so maybe they were able to get away with it, because it was, because now I think there's, like, 16 different points where they time it, so you have to maintain that speed all the way through the pits, where at this time, maybe it was only, like, 4 segments that they had. I don't know the numbers for sure at this time. That might have been why it looked like Earnhardt and Skinner accelerated there out of really randomness towards 2/3 mark down pit road. Ken Squire, Case Gaines shared the same birthday as you. Awesome, man.
24 laps to go.
Nobody I know shares the same birthday as me.
Buddy, how do you win this race if you're not in Dale Earnhardt's position?
Well, the first thing you have to do is, you can tell they're teaming up right now. There's a lot of these guys that know that they have to draft right now. You wait till about 5 laps to go, really make a run. But hey, if that door opens up right now, those team cars will go right by Earnhardt and try to put him back there and worry about him getting back to the front.
Both those 2 lead Chevys using the new General Motors SB2.
Will this be the final
engine,
restart?
And then 2 Ford Tauruses right behind them, answering a question we had at the top of the day. The Tauruses can run.
Yes, they can. They certainly can run in the draft. They haven't led that much today, but they certainly can run in the draft. And if 2 of them get hooked up together against those 2 Chevrolets, it's going to be interesting. However,
No, not tonight. Not during these streams. No trivia.
Ken Squire.
Dale Earnhardt has
Focus
said
on
this
just trying to
week,
watch
it's
the,
a game of chance in terms of who's working with you and how
watch
you
the
get
broadcast.
where you want to be. He's where he wants to be now for sure. The teammate Mike Skinner right behind.
Skinner is all over him.
Right behind, Skinner is shoving Earnhardt toward turn 1.
Almost got his car.
A lot of the lap cars jumped up to the top pretty quickly further back. Not so much at the front of the field, though.
Lead lap cars in the outside lane. Cars 1 or more laps down, including number 41.
Oh, Rusty.
Down on the inside.
Rusty lost the 12.
He's not up to his teammate where he should be, but Jeff Gordon's right on his
Had a lot of the lap cars move up in front of the 2.
That's a lap car there, the 40 car.
It's like 2 or 3 lap cars in between the 2 and the... Oh, well, they jumped to the... They had the speed. Had the momentum off turn 2.
Not yet shown up. He's the only Ford in the front of that pack.
Guess they're lap down for a
He's
reason.
a good car all day. He has drafted well, has driven it well. Now Rusty Wallace is back there with him.
Ooh, 3.
And 2 Fords. And
Jimmy
3
Spencer in the
behind
middle back
them.
there?
Jimmy Spencer in the middle.
Yep.
Don't count out
That's not the... That's like the second or third time on a well, really, any restart or start of the race they've had today. Jimmy Spencer's been in the middle 3
And
wide.
here's a challenge going down into turn
Bob
one.
caused a wreck trying to move to the... Oh, Skinner got hung out. Skinner didn't get down low enough. I think the Penske cars made the move, and 31 kind of had nowhere to go.
You can see that Skinner's fighting back on the outside. Bobby right by himself.
I was going to say, Bobby's all by himself. Surprised he's able to stay with the 31. They're going to lose those guys, though, if they run side by side.
Sounded like Ray Evernham talking to Jeff Gordon.
August 11th is my birthday.
And Bobby Labonte still running side by side with Mike Skinner back there. That's not good.
Well, the first four broke away just a little bit.
Still got 22 laps, remember that air dam.
That is Ray Evernham telling Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, a lot of three-wide racing going on back there.
Stay in line as long as you possibly can and take advantage of the draft off the car ahead of you. Jerry Nadeau, number 13, in the middle of the pack. He's the highest rookie in the race right now. 1 lap down in 22nd spot. Great debut for the road racer from Connecticut.
Oh, it's Mark.
Martin's wounded car way down to the inside.
Mark Martin's slow.
He knows he's laps down. He's just letting these guys go after it.
Buddy, how tense is it to be this late in a race in the middle of a pack like this?
Well, you see Bobby Labonte in the
Mike Skinner's going to have a big run if they could get organized just enough to give him a push.
You're doing everything you possibly can.
Props to Jimmy Spencer running in 7th right now.
Coming up on Mike Skinner.
Oh, man. Big block by Earnhardt. Rusty looked like he had a run on him, too. There's definitely a gap between the 3 and the 12 right now. That's Mayfield, my bad. Mayfield. The 2 and the 12 literally have the same paint scheme, so it's...
With 20 laps to go.
Should have known Mayfield was still in 2nd, though.
He still has yet to find the key to the...
It's weird, they have the same paint scheme, but they have different sponsors. It's just the way it's on the car, they look identical.
Winston Cup races since Earnhardt has had a victory on NASCAR's senior circuit. 3 abreast further back.
Man, Ernie Irvin really fell back. He was in the top 5 like all day, and now he's all the way at the back of the pack. They definitely caught the top 4 though.
There's Rusty Wallace. He's darted inside, he's darted outside. But even with Jeremy Mayfield right behind him, he cannot yet get alongside Earnhardt.
So far, maybe it's a little bit earlier than they would like to make those moves. They sort of test them out, but they also got to look in their rear
19 to go.
Rusty Wallace is Jeff Gordon.
20 to go. It'll be 19 at the line this time.
Stay a player in this thing. Bobby Labonte has caught back up to them as well.
Ooh, big. Who was that? Labonte? No, Jimmy Spencer. Spencer taking a peek.
There, that red and white car, that's Jimmy Spencer.
Oh, Waltrip.
He'll let it all hang out too.
I don't know how much room he had back there to try to move to the outside, but he made his own room. Oh! Contact force in one car way down there. Chad Little. I think that's the second time he's been forced either below or at the white line today.
Let's watch this race. I tell you what, they do a great job. Rusty knows how to drive. I would just down here, but it helps me a lot in the booth. At least I do know what these cars are doing right now. You can see Jeremy look on the inside. His teammate just about put a move on him there. If he makes the wrong move, Rusty's going to go, because he wants to win the Daytona 500 as much as Jeremy Mayfield does. Earnhardt looking in the mirror going, what do I do if they come on the outside, inside?
Not since Jerry Cook has there been a mirror driver in this business of the caliber of Earnhardt.
That's right, and he knows that. I mean, all he
Gordon. Oh, Rusty. Oh, my gosh. Gordon cut him a big break there. I couldn't tell if there was contact or not. It was... That got tight. Terry Labonte. Oh, who's that down? Oh my gosh! Somebody about went in the grass to pass another car and literally body slammed the car on the outside of him to keep from going in the grass. Good Lord.
Dale Earnhardt has to be grinning. Boys, keep them 2 by 2 back here, and it's a 3-car shootout instead of 15 cars going for it on the last lap.
Yeah,
all take, no give.
He's
strong.
Yeah, he's coming. There he is. He's right back there now.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte's had an interesting day. He was up there, and then after the first pit stops, he kind of fell way back. Never really been back up there since, but he's up to 4th now. I know he was up there towards the finish.
and just hope for the best.
40 miles left to race. Dick Berggren.
Oh, big run for one car off turn 2. Gordon going low.
Well, you know, it's all out of our hands now. You know, I feel like we've got the best driver that's ever been at Daytona leading this pack right now, but you got team cars behind him, and darn, I wish they'd shorten this race today. Obviously they're not. We just have to see what happens.
Okay, Larry, thanks. Good luck.
Well, we look over there, and that dark cloud doesn't look quite as dark right now down into turn 1 as they still continue to run 3 wide back in the pack.
It's nowhere near as dark as that dark form that looms in front of those 2 white and blue Fords. Dale Earnhardt. But as Richard Childress reminded Larry McReynolds at this point in the race last year when Larry said, "Is it looking good?" Childress just looked at him with a stern
The fact that
face
Terry
and said,
Labonte and Mike Skinner almost got in wreck with each other very early in the race, too. Labonte got sideways, and they're still up there. It is a mess from, like, I don't know, 7th, 8th on back.
We'll be lucky if we don't have a wreck before this thing.
So much lane changing going on from, like, the wall to the apron. Bill Elliott's got a big run.
Green car, Chad Little, down low. Ernie Irvin trying to come back up with the leaders. And outside, Ricky Craven in 12th place. You're with Craven. That's Jerry Nadeau just ahead. Bill Elliott down on the inside. Ooh, Chad Little comes up almost into Craven.
That's exactly what Ned was talking about. Rooting and gouging now. They're moving up on
The only name I know in that list that you named there, Wade, was Lenny Pond.
Chad Little gets free of that pack, and way down to the bottom goes Irvin. Irvin scratching and clawing his way back to the front. He's racing for $2 million.
Kind of funny how there's somebody else with the same last name as me, too.
14 laps to go.
Born on the same day as me.
If I was driving Earnhardt's car, I would hope these guys were smart enough just to stay behind me until the real time comes. If you made a move right now, you might go from 2nd to 15th, get back there where they're running 3 wide and have no chance to win.
Yeah, now is not the time to make a move up front. Of course, Earnhardt, he's making the moves that he has to make, and that's just a hold of...
Well, it's strange, especially this time. It's too early for, like, the Penske cars to move. But if you're Jeff Gordon, you're not going to win the race from 4th on the final lap while you're single file. Like, if you're behind 3rd, you have to go before the final lap and hope somebody goes with you. Yeah, I'm not saying now's the time to go, but you can't wait till the final lap. And especially when you consider the fact that the race could end under yellow if the big one happens, I think you got to go when there's like 7 or 8 laps left. I think that's when you have to really start to get going.
Kyle Petty down low, John Andretti in the middle, and he squeezes.
John Andretti's still in the race after having that last wreck.
Well, 10's from Wisconsin, and they run hard with their bumpers up there. Back to the lead. 7 cars in a row. 11 1/2 laps. 27 miles left to run.
The drivers had a lot of freedom going wherever they were willing to go.
14 years in a row here. Every one of the 1990s. 9 years he's won the qualifier. But in between last year's qualifying race win and Thursday's win,
that's got to be tough, though, if you're Jeremy Mayfield, too. Like, how many times he's probably telling, like, his crew chief or his spotter, like, hey, I got to run, let's go. And he's like, nope, just stay there, I mean, you would think, though, with Mayfield and Wallace in 2nd and 3rd, it would be pretty easy to team up. Tag team Earnhardt. I wonder if they're going to catch another lap car, too, that maybe that could break something up.
You taught Jeremy Mayfield during winter testing. Does he have the killer instinct to beat these two and win this race?
It wouldn't be a brother.
Every one of them a winner.
I don't know of any other siblings.
Before you ever get in the Winston Cup, every one of these guys are talented race car drivers, and I won't take any credit. He got here on his own.
Dick Berggren.
Richard Childress is watching the television. His driver is ahead, but they're all ganged up behind you. How does Dale Earnhardt prevent these guys from passing him?
That's going to be tough. You know, 2 cars can just go. You know, Mike got shuffled out. I was hoping Mike could sit there with him, but those 2 cars got to run on Mike and just hung him out. And his car's a little loose, too, so he's doing a good job.
Titans up 7-0.
You know, Dale Earnhardt, he's been here many times. He knows what he's got to do.
He does indeed.
10 to go this time by.
And those 6 cars in the lead pack may be about to become 12.
Just watching Jeff Gordon, he had dropped back and gotten himself back in that group back there. Now he's running the front group back down there.
It's like Jimmy Spencer's leading the second group.
10
and 7th.
laps to go. The driver leading with 10 laps to go has won 22 times in the 39 running.
I mean, you know, if he gets a run, he's taking it.
4 times. One of the drivers of the 17 that have not have been Dale Earnhardt. 1989, 1990, 1991, and 93. Earnhardt has been right here with 10 laps to go.
I think Earnhardt's going to end up leading the most laps, too. If he hasn't already clinched it. I know Gordon led quite a bit in the middle of the race, but really ever since Earnhardt took the lead about, well, really a couple laps after that, it would have been the restart to the first caution.
You know, there's a whole lot of cars right behind us, and one wrong move.
There's only been 2 cautions.
You know, we're real excited to be here in the position we're in, and we're going to go for the win here in a little bit.
If Jeremy goes, will Rusty go with him?
Well, of course, that's what teammates are for.
Indeed.
Paul Andrews knows about winning. He won the Winston Cup Championship with the late Alan Kulwicki behind the wheel.
They're still running average laps of almost 188 miles an hour, and they're getting close to that 500-mile mark.
8 laps to go. 20 miles, buddy.
Guys, it hadn't been long. We had 4 cars in a breakaway draft. You
8
have
to go.
many cars now in contention. You see Rusty push.
Yeah, you got to get going if you're back there 6th, 7th, 8th. Oh, there goes Labonte. I was going to say, it was about the time. Oh, they're hanging both. Oh, Mayfield. What a move by Labonte, though. He saw that coming, and he made evasive action.
Jeremy Mayfield fighting back on the inside there.
I don't know if he's going to have a lot of help, though. Oh, Gordon's going with him. Yeah, he will have help.
It's a dogfight.
Oh, Jimmy Spencer about wrecked. Who was that? Kenny Schrader down there? Mayfield getting a push now. Oh, Mayfield's got a massive run. Gordon blocked the heck out of him. Mayfield had to lift. It's getting racy. Oh, they're 3. Look out. Everybody's going for everything right now. Oh, Labonte got shuffled all the way back. He was side by side for a second. He got shuffled all the way back to about 6th. Earnhardt's getting way out ahead of him. It's getting nuts. Mayfield's got a big run again. He doesn't have a lot of help, though, this time.
Mayfield is right back there again, sticking his nose of his Ford right up under Dale Earnhardt's Chevrolet.
6 to go, baby. Remember what you told me a year ago. Don't let him get a run on you.
Gordon a little loose with the push from Labonte.
Can he get there?
We have a situation here. We have 2 groups that are running very well on the high side of the racetrack. I don't think there is such a thing as a great line around the racetrack right now.
Wow. The teams and the manufacturers are split up. It's Chevy, Ford, and nobody has a teammate next to them.
Let's see what Earnhardt's doing right now. Right on the white line around the bottom of the racetrack here. That groove you
I'm surprised Mayfield held on to 2nd with all that going on, honestly. That move Labonte made kind of crossed him over to the outside. I'm surprised he didn't make the pass. 5 to go.
5 laps to go.
3 wide again. Waltrip's made quite a bit of big moves in the race, too. Ernie Irvin was earlier. Waltrip was making quite a few also.
When going into turn 3, Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison crashed. Richard Petty was in turn 1 at the time and led Darrell Waltrip and A.J. Foyt to the checkered flag. You don't need to be on the front of this train to win, but it sure helps.
Lady, we feel just like you do up here in the broadcasting booth. Not a one of us to sit down.
Top 5 starting to really pull away again.
Off turn 4, where David Pearson and Richard Petty.
I don't see anybody 3 wide anymore off 4.
In 1976, Pearson limping across with the victory.
Bonnie's still back there at 6. I'm trying to figure out how he got up there. I thought that was his move to get up there earlier, but then he fell back again. He's got body slam going into 1, too. Is that Ernie Irvin? How did Ernie Irvin get up there? He was at the tail end of the pack on the restart. Ernie was at the tail end, and now he's all the way up to Labonte for 6th. Rusty pulling out. Is he going to clear Gordon? He did. Oh, man. Penske teammate's going to get back together again.
If they work together, they could.
I'm sure she was just as nervous as like almost everybody there. Everybody that was an Earnhardt fan, at least, or any fan that was of anybody that had contention. Wow, nobody's working with Gordon. Gordon was in third, and look at him losing all that. He's like outside the top 15 now.
Schrader, Bobby Labonte in prime position. Jimmy Spencer coming up.
Oh wow, Labonte was not waiting. Look at how far ahead the top two are getting out.
And also, Ned, he split Rusty from his teammate Mayfield. And Jeff Gordon.
There goes Gordon. Yeah, he's still going back. I can't believe how good Gordon ran. Now he's just losing a ton of spots in the closing laps.
Where Leroy Yarborough beat Charlie Glucksbeck on the last lap in 1969.
Look at Bobby Labonte coming up on the outside by himself.
Yeah. Oh! Yeah, Jimmy Spencer in the wall. 3 to go.
2 laps to go.
Big time hit
2 to go.
Spencer, but I told you Bobby Labonte was moving just a little while ago.
Jimmy gonna make it?
Muscle move on the outside. Fastest qualifier here for the 500.
He's going up the track. His tire's probably down already. Bonnie did a great job getting by Mayfield. He's made a couple great moves on the 12. That one he actually made the pass. Andretti again. Yeah, there's the caution.
As the leaders head for turn number 3, Andretti and Spencer got together.
This could be the Daytona 500. Bobby Labonte.
I got chills right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Earnhardt uses the lap car of Rick Mast as a pick. 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Finally.
Cool.
The most anticipated moment in racing. If John Elway can win the Super Bowl, Dale Earnhardt said he could win the Daytona 500. And if he comes around under caution to complete this final lap, the taste of long-awaited victory will be his.
Wow, what a drive by Dale Earnhardt, doing everything he had to do today.
Bobby Labonte saying, boy, I needed that last lap.
Labonte and Mayfield were banging door-to-door for second at the line.
I'll bet they'll be tearful when he pulls into victory lane.
Let me tell you, it'll make the strongest man on earth cry when
I'll keep it playing live until we get the interview from the race winner. Just like we did with last week's stream. We'll probably just keep doing that going forward. Arm out the window as he's taking the checker. And to be in the crowd that day, that'd be insane. I had chills just rewatch it. It's like I've watched the finish so many times, but to watch the whole race leading up to that gives me a new feeling for it that I really never had before. Now the pace car is out on the track. What?
The run to the caution flag from turn 3.
He came up on Rick Mast.
Yeah, the lap car really helped Earnhardt.
That's all Earnhardt needed, buddy, was just some racetrack up there.
I mean, even without the lap car, he probably would have been all right, but it made it a little easier for him. Especially with them side by side behind him coming up on the lapper. I think Labonte ended up second.
Larry McReynolds and his team looking at Earnhardt. Big hug from Richard Childress.
Really the closest Bobby Labonte ever came to winning a Daytona 500.
Richard Childress, you have tried so hard, so long, you have done it. What is it like to finally win the Daytona 500?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, this team this year, we took all winter, and I can't say enough about Dale Earnhardt, Jim Goodwrench has stood behind, and most of all, our race fans. Unbelievable.
And there are people in this victory area that are in tears.
They used to boo Dale Earnhardt when he was winning too much. That'll happen if you dominate any sport.
Yeah.
But today,
got that right, Mike. Man, nothing's changed in 25 years, has it? Comes to sports fans.
Their favorite driver couldn't win the Daytona 500.
Don't know how to appreciate greatness until they're on their way out.
You pull up for the check of the spoiler. One of the NASCAR officials calls underneath the car.
Here's the thumbnail coming up.
71st career Winston Cup victory for the second generation driver and 7-time national champion. You said it to make a big man cry. Here's Chocolate Myers of Earnhardt's crew.
Well, they don't get any bigger, but I tell you what, I feel about the same way.
Look out on pit road. Every man on every crew has come out to the edge of pit lane to congratulate the man who has dominated everything there is to win in this sport, except this race, until today.
That's great. There was Todd Parrott, Dale Jarrett's crew chief, other members, other team members of other.
Andy Petrie was there. And this will
It's
be
crazy because, I mean, you've never seen anything quite like this scene that we're seeing right here before or after.
Not that many. Normally we'll see 2 or 3 or 4 teams come out there, but this is something.
Ned, I was going to say the same thing. I had about 10 teams come out when I won this one, but look at this. Everybody knows what it means to the man that's done everything to finally get the Daytona 500.
There's Derek Cope, or rather Ernie Irvin's crew. There's NASCAR officials out there. There's Robert Presley's crew. Ricky Craven's team.
NASCAR officials.
He's shaking everybody's hand, too, if you notice.
59 races since he's been to victory lane.
Wow.
19 days.
I didn't realize he was on that big of a winless streak,
He
too.
led at the white flag and failed to take
58
the
races
first
since
place.
his last win prior to this one.
But today belongs to the man who grew up at the corner of Coach and Sedan Street in Kannapolis, North Carolina, a mill town north of Charlotte, where he worked underneath that house in a garage on his own race cars and those of his father to become one of NASCAR's 2 greatest champions. He and Richard Petty, the only 2 drivers with 7 Winston Cups on their trophy shelf.
Mike, he's a long ways from Victory Circle yet, and the crowd's building.
And Earnhardt, along with Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace, and again Ken Schrader, will have a shot at that R.J. Reynolds $1 million bonus when they post it next time later this season. Last year at Darlington, South Carolina, some question Earnhardt's ability to go 500 miles when he blanked out.
I say a lot of these people now are just media people.
And had to climb from the car.
Look out, guy! That camera dude running for his life.
There goes the grass.
Yeah, goodbye.
A smoke show. Well, the fellow who drives his Craftsman truck, Ron Hornaday, likes to do when he celebrates a victory. And now, look at that throng. Can he get to victory lane from here?
Yeah, good.
He's going to have a lot of help from a lot of security people to get there, it looks like.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
He's won at this racetrack 30 times. He, better than anyone, knows the way to victory lane. The most anticipated moment in the history of NASCAR racing. Dale Earnhardt rolling into victory lane in the Daytona 500. Awaiting Dale Earnhardt is the man who brought the Daytona 500 to CBS, Ken Squire.
The 20-year quest is over. Gates have just opened for Dale Earnhardt in victory lane at Daytona. Here's his wife, Teresa, coming to speak to him. One for Dale Earnhardt, perhaps one for Neil Bonnet as well. About to ratchet himself out of this beautifully prepared car. He said patience was what it was going to take, and patience is what he gave it. All right, getting on the hat. He's waiting on this. And he's ready to clamber out. Ready to step out of car number 3. The winner of the Daytona 500.
So you gotta put that Daytona 500 champion hat on.
Gonna have a drink of soda here.
I've lost the chat, by the way, the last lap of the race. My phone died. Almost made it through.
Out of his car.
I'll check out a couple of the comments once we get through this interview before I end the stream.
2 decades he's waited for this moment, and it's here, and everybody gets a bath. Dale. Yes. What a show.
Yes.
Here with Larry McReynolds and
I mean, I've never really seen him like this excited probably ever. I don't think anybody had up until this moment.
How about that ride?
How about it? Man, can you believe it? For one, got an awesome race car, but for two, thank good Lord for a good day. This race car did everything. The good Lord looked after it all day long. Good wrench. This is for all them race fans and all them people have been saying, Dale, this is your year. Dale, this is your year. And boy, a lot of them said it this year. All the way from Mr. France all the way down to Todd Parrott and all the guys on the team. The Daytona 500 is ours. We've won it.
And everybody took a shot at you at the end.
I don't care who's taking shots at me. I was driving the mirror more than was the front, but you know, I tell you, these great sponsors, these great people that's worked with us and give us everything we need to win with. This is a good race car. Spinny Clinton. Hey, David, congratulations on your baby. And Larry McReynolds, Spinny Clinton, Richard Childers. We got one heck of a race team. We're going to win a championship this year.
One for Dale and one for Teresa. One
Call
for
a
Neil
shot.
Bonnet, 2 today.
Well, one for a lot of people. T. Wayne Robinson and, you know, Neil Bonnet, my dad. Everybody that's been in racing has been my friend that taught me so much, that touched my life. There's so many of them, I can't thank them all. My mom, thank you, Mom. I know she's back home. Dale Jr., hope you're not too sore. Carrie and Kelly, I love y'all.
You've touched a lot of people here today, and we'll be back for the trophy presentation in a moment after these messages.
You the man. You a bad man. Good job. You next, bro. Good job, buddy. We got a great team.
Well, we're back here in Victory Lane. John Graham, president of the Daytona International Speedway, after perhaps the greatest 500 of them all, is about to make the presentation to Dale Earnhardt. Symbol of victory in the great American race. John? Ken?
I feel like they never really show this.
Dale?
Maybe they did all the years leading up to it.
Here is a replica of the
On
Harley
TV
J.
at
Earl
least.
Trophy, symbolic of the champion of the Daytona 500, and will inscribe your name on the permanent Harley J. Earl Trophy on display along with your winning car in Daytona, USA year-round. Congratulations. A great day for racing. Somebody may get hurt here. Great day for racing.
I'll tell you, it's a great day, and I was wondering if I'd ever get my name on that trophy when y'all built that thing, and it's going to be great to have this in my trophy case, but it's for Richard Childers and all the guys. Everybody worked so hard for this. There's too many people in my life I had to think I couldn't think of them all right now.
Dale, you lose that car for a whole year. It's going to be at Daytona, USA. They'll roll it in tonight.
That's why I took it out in the grass and spun it around a little bit. I knew I wasn't going to race there again. I just thought I'd throw a little grass up.
Very well planned. Those pit stops were just immaculate today.
Well, they were. The guys did a great job, and Dale didn't choke it on the pit road, so everything worked great. I can't say enough for this team. I tell you, we've had so many people that really worked so hard for Jim Goodrich Service. They have been, you know, supportive all the way through. Here we are in Victory Lane again. I knew we could do it.
And you did it, and you did it in style. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
I'm with Bobby Labonte, who put on a terrific run at the end to finish second, his best ever in the Daytona 500. Where did all that speed come from at the end of the day?
Man, you know, Jimmy Spencer really helped me out a lot all week long, and our cars worked really good together. And you know, he's kind of out there. I've got a few guys to work with, but we worked good together all week, and you know, brought this Interstate Pontiac. You know, put me back up there, and from about 7th back to 2nd there with about 3 laps to go. So it was a pretty awesome run for us.
And the little guy is Tyler Labonte. Ralph?
Jeremy Mayfield, a tremendous run for you. Tell me about that last lap.
It's crazy to look at how young everybody is, too.
You know, had a really strong car. The Mobile One Ford was just outstanding all day. Didn't make any adjustments. The pit stops were great. My teammate, great. I mean, we worked together good all day, and that's shows a class act between both teams. We both ran good together and helped each other, and you know, everybody started shuffling around at the end and really didn't have a chance to make a run on him, but you know, we gave our best shot.
Your new teammate, Rusty Wallace, was the first one over to congratulate you. Is this teammate thing really going to work out? What do you say to you?
Man, just thumbs up. You know, Rusty's a great guy. We've become really good friends. we're here to help each other. You know, the 2 and the 12 cars not going to race each other. We're here to help each other, and that showed today. And you know, Rusty, man, what a guy. You know, he's won everything there is to win, and have him in your corner means a lot.
This could be a new powerful force. Jeremy Mayfield and Rusty Wallace in Winston Cup Racing, Ken.
It really was, though. On track. Not off track, but on track.
That's the place to be. That's where Earnhardt is after 20 years of trying here in the Great American Race. We'll be back with more of the story.
Take a look at some of the comments here before we end the stream. Maybe. Chat's a little slow. You're gonna see a bunch of screens here on the channel. And try refreshing this page real quick. Try to get to some of your comments before we end the stream. But yeah, finally watched the 1998 Daytona 500. That was a first for me, watching it from start to finish. And it's a lot of fun. You're gonna see a bunch of screens here on. Waiting for the chat. Still waiting. My laptop's being a little bit slow. Mayfield was 29. JC1424, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for pretty much anybody that tuned in. I didn't get to shout out there in the closing laps. I didn't want to pause the race. Rick Mast helped Dale win. Kingston tears, anyone? Nah. I had chills, though, for sure. Like I said, that was the first I'd ever watched this race from start to finish. It was just before I was born. Pretty cool, though. Should have seen it live. My mother was crying. She probably wasn't the only one. Larry Mack has a great interview on the Dale Jr. download about this day. I probably heard it before. I've watched a lot of episodes on the Dale Jr. download. Be in tears if I was an Earnhardt fan. But honestly, like, knowing, like, the driving style I like, I probably wouldn't have been an Earnhardt fan. I would have respected, him for this race. For sure. I'm sure everybody in the sport and as a fan did. I can't speak for all, but I can speak for probably most. Daytime Dreaming, thanks for tuning in. Earnhardt and Priceless, yeah, for sure. Gerald Household, thanks for tuning in also. Not sure how many people we had watching there at the very end. Again, my phone was out there, those final closing laps. But thanks for everybody watching tonight. Be sure to vote the community tab starting next week for usually Sunday night. Monday is when we'll have the community tab up for what race I will watch next week. Again, we're doing Throwback Thursdays pretty much annually at this point. But for the off-season, we will be doing Daytona 500s leading up to the start of next season. So I'll have a couple different voting polls for you guys, and we'll see what race we get to watch next week. But this was a trip for sure. It was a trip down memory lane last week with the 06 500, just not watching that really since I had watched it when it happened. And then tonight's race, just never watching it from start to finish, only really seeing the closing half a lap. Well, a lap and a half, I guess, with the ending under caution. But yeah, outside of that, I had no clue what happened the rest of the race. I was curious as to how the race led up. Fairly clean race. 3 cautions. 2 of them earlier in the race, and then obviously ended under the yellow. So definitely a really clean race by all means. And the first 2 races we watched, we haven't seen the big one, so it's kind of strange. I definitely want to watch 99. 99 is one of my favorites. That race was highly intense. Yeah, we'll do that at some point in time for sure. Just depends on what order you guys vote for the races, really. There's a lot of them I definitely want to rewatch. We're not going to get to all of them probably this off season, but we'll get to quite a few. We knew this would be his only Daytona 500 win in his career. I think most people probably could have expected it just because he was somewhat towards the end of his career and he had only, it took 20 years to win it the first time. For sure. Yeah, we have 20 now. I don't know what we were at, though, like 10 minutes ago. Oh, 99 was your first race, too. Pretty good introduction. Well, thanks for tuning in, Noah. I host the stream, but you guys are the ones that tune in. So, yeah, every Thursday we'll be doing these streams. We'll go back on the NASCAR 06 train tomorrow night. I can't remember exactly what race we're doing tomorrow. It will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can tell you that much. So 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, NASCAR 06. Tune in. We'll be watching that one. And we will have some fun virtually tomorrow night. Commentary for that. Of course, no realistic commentary for the live races on the race weekend, but I do those on the race weekends when the season starts. So once the Busch Clash rolls around, I'll have you guys covered for that. But until then, we'll just keep doing these on Thursday night, reaction videos on Monday, and then every other stream both during the week and then on the following weekend. Oh, also, because Thanksgiving is next Thursday, our stream, like this Throwback Thursday stream, is actually going to be on Friday next week. I should have mentioned that throughout the stream, and I didn't. I completely forgot. But Thanksgiving being on Thursday next week, we'll host the Throwback Thursday on Friday. So Black Friday next week, we'll have the next stream of this. Because I don't want to miss the opportunity of not being able to stream this, but I'm not streaming on Thanksgiving next week. So thanks for everybody tuning in, though. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one. Appreciate the support as always. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of viewers really ever on the channel have not hit the subscribe button, so definitely do so. I don't know what the actual analytics are recently, but I know for a while there was like 70% of people that were watching my channel over a 28-day period were not subscribed, so definitely hit the subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. I will see you guys, though, tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, and thanks for reliving, I guess in some cases, the 1998 Daytona 500. It was pretty fun. See you guys.